Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast. Coming out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 81. Hello out there, I am your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me tonight is Jordan Frost.
Hello.
And Oscar Morphew.
Hey.
Thank you guys for coming back again.
That's all right.
And welcome to the Simpsons Index, the podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but the twist is that each episode comes from a different decade. Now, how are we feeling about the episode we just watched, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into it. We watched an episode from the HD era. This was season 25, episode 22, The Yellow Badge of Cowardge. Yes, I said Cowardge.
Cowardge?
Cowardge. It looks like Cowardge.
Yeah.
Tasty
Is
wedge
that
of
cheese?
cow.
Is that cheese? Would that be
No,
cheese?
it's like a beef.
Yeah.
Like a shape
okay.
of beef.
Yeah, okay, I can do that.
One wedge of beef, please. Yeah, so they're going for Yellow Badge of Courage, but it's a
Changing
coward.
it to coward. You get it?
Clever stuff. This was first released in May of 2014. It was directed by Timothy Bailey, not to be confused with the weatherman from Australia, but a different one.
Business of the Brolly. Sorry.
How you going, Sandra? And it was written by Billy Kimball and Ian Maxtone Graham. In this episode, where do I begin? There's a big race around the school and Milhouse is winning, but then Nelson interferes and starts beating up Milhouse, and Bart sees this happen, but he just runs along and wins the race for himself. And also in the B story, Homer is determined to bring Springfield back its fireworks, and he gets in touch with the old fireworks operator from when he was a kid, and they have a little adventure. Guys, what did you think?
Below average.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that to start with.
I feel like because I'm working at like 50% brain capacity, I didn't mind it.
Yeah?
I didn't mind it. I didn't actively hate the episode.
True. No, I didn't either.
Yeah, there's nothing that's terrible about it. Like, the characters are mostly themselves. They're not doing anything outright offensive. It's just, it's so boring.
Is that then worse, though, because they didn't take a risk at all?
Well, look, that's where I'm at with it, that I think you can actually make a good case for all of the bottom 3 rankings, but none of the top 3. So anyway, just jumping right into the questionnaire. Jordan, is there a moment from this story that stands out to you for better or worse?
The character of Giuseppe does not make sense at all to me. It's almost as if like Giuseppe is the sole operator and financier of all of Springfield's fireworks displays in the past. And this whole thing about like him trying to track him down and finding him and being like, you're going to be the savior of 4th of July it just didn't ring true for me at all.
Going into that with the whole subplot of Homer is super sad that the 4th of July is being cancelled for no reason. Did it have a reason? Was there a reason on the newspaper?
Fireworks being like dangerous or something. But
yeah, this was one of my problems with the story, is actually when they established it in the first act, it was a long time before they returned to it in the second act, where Homer was like, hey Marge, I've got these ideas, drew on the ceiling, kaboom, pow, and whatever.
This is our B story here.
That's what they said. They said the city's broke. Because they said, the firemen have to deliver pizzas now. And
I was about to say, they missed out a good opportunity for a joke of why they were broke.
Yeah.
Instead of like, they're so
showing
broke.
Why they're,
like showing the result of the broke. It's like, no, they're broke and we don't get fireworks. Give us something else. That's it. Flesh it out.
Yeah, because instead we get this joke of the fireman delivering pizza. And I didn't actually mind him like ascending the ladder to give the pizza. But then the woman who goes, my baby, back ribs.
Yeah. It would have been funny just to see, like, if the shot was just them going up the ladder with the pizza and like from way back, super wide shot.
Yeah, sure.
That's all. Yeah.
Or if that was the ad for new, fireman delivery services or something like that, kind of like an Uber Eats, but it's the fire truck kind of thing.
We also fight fires.
You need a pizza and you have a fire. Yep. You only need to call the one number.
Yes.
But yeah, just jumping on your point about Giuseppe, I really hated Hank Azaria's delivery of this character as well. This was so over the top Italiano stereotype.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think, there's been a lot of talk about Apu and their Simpsons response to the documentary about Apu and everything, really. There's not really much difference apart from the nationality with doing an Indian accent and doing a kind of a stereotypical Italian accent. It kind of felt punching down, really, a lot of the time. But, oh no, those immigrants came before and they've been more integrated, so it's okay for us to do that.
It's safe. It's
that
like the
voice now.
Irish. It's like Americans correct me, but like you can make fun of Italians and you can make fun of the Irish and
big drinkers, the Irish. It's
like
fine to say that.
Safe with air quotes. I'm saying.
Lots of that.
Well, Jordan, remember when we were in Disney World and there were the Dapper Dans?
Yeah.
And they just like launched into fucking 5 minutes of Irish jokes, and I'm like, I'm standing right here, you assholes.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't have an Irish flag on your backpack or anything.
I
They didn't know, but still.
I thought you were gonna say that they started singing like old timey South, like really racist.
Throw the Irish off the boat. Let those drown. Whatever.
Lesser known song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that kind of character voice and doing it is, for me, it's on the same level as doing an Indian accent. It's
Yeah, and I didn't actually feel like Giuseppe had a lot of jokes. I think a lot of like the humor that we were meant to be getting out of it was Hank Azaria's delivery, like when they're doing that fucking song over the ending credits, and he's like, I miss your touch, your honesty is too much. Like, it's just so trite.
In the song is bad enough as it is, and
as
then to do that.
Yeah. Oof. All right, how about you, Oscar? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
Kind of hopping off the fireworks stuff. It's Homer's flashback to when he was a kid and saying how much he loved fireworks because he thought his parents would stop fighting, but it was just too loud and he couldn't hear them fighting.
Yeah.
I like it when Homer is sweet. I like sweet Homer, and it's just kind of an easy pass for me.
Yeah.
So that was a moment that kind of got me a little bit invested, and it had probably my favorite line, which was, "Are you God?" when Homer finds Giuseppe shooting the fireworks, and he said, "No, I just shoot rockets into his face." I was like,
Yeah.
That's funny. And it doesn't need to be an Italian character. There was nothing where it was justified. It was just kind of like,
Yeah, if you look at his business card, I think his name was like Giuseppe Grand Finale or something like that.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have my theories of why he's in the episode is because I don't know if you guys played a little mobile game called The Simpsons Tapped Out.
No.
It's where you build your own Springfield.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, it's like SimCity, but The Simpsons. And yeah, I got massively addicted to this game, and I probably sunk about 320 hours in it.
Ooh, I thought you were about to say dollars.
Probably about $80 actually.
Wow, okay. Microtransactions gotcha. I mean, for 320 hours of entertainment in italics, it was, probably worth it.
It was a very mindless fucking tap the thing, wait hours, get the thing again and tap it again sort of game. But it just seemed like for a stage that they were just introducing new characters on The Simpsons so they could then have new characters in the game.
Okay.
Because it got to a point very early on in the game was like, oh, that is all the residents of Springfield. And now they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel and like releasing Yes Guy and, all the one-note ones.
They kind of did that in this episode, actually, with all the different kids. It's like there's Reverend Lovejoy's daughter, and there's
Kearney's kid, and Jailbird's kid, and
and there's Frank Sinatra kid.
Yeah,
is that a thing?
I've seen him.
He hits on Lisa at one point, and she's like trying to get Mr. Largo to do a different band song rather than Sousa.
Right.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra kid's like, hey, maybe we should listen to this little doll and ring a ding ding, and it's lame.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he sucks.
Yeah.
And he did it his way.
And he did it his way. I did like that flashback as well because it did sort of give a bit of context for Homer's story, but I just don't think they hit on anything else enough in the Homer story to make it a satisfying B-plot, really.
I wanted so much more. Like, all the stuff of him being excited, I was like, this is all right. And it was just the last, like, 2 beats of it where it's like...
And it makes me think, why wasn't Grandpa involved? This was clearly a special memory for both of them.
Yeah.
Like, he could have had Grandpa involved, and then maybe Grandpa and Giuseppe get in the fight at the end. Because that's the other thing that pissed me off about that. That fight just was so unwarranted.
Unearned.
Yeah,
in a really sloppy way.
Just done for a very specific reason, to just tip the boat over and put the peril to the metal.
The peril to the metal. That's the saying. So the moment of the story that sticks out to me is the whole Bart and Milhouse betrayal thing. I kind of liked it as a device of Lisa's narration, but I think the episode did too much jumping around in flashbacks, in cutaway gags, in time jumps that it wasn't really cohesive.
If you're going to do that Lisa narration thing, it's almost like you need to make the whole episode about that, and Homer's story didn't really use it at all.
It didn't fit the format.
Yeah.
No, that's right, because Lisa does divert for a second in her narration to bring the flashback on.
Didn't really work for me, and yeah, you could have made an episode out of the dregs of what was there, but it didn't flow very well. It was very disjointed. It kind of kept doing this moralistic story about Bart and how he learns that, to make up for what he's done.
Yeah.
But then it's this completely kind of wacky story about Homer's making fireworks, and it didn't kind of gel.
Yeah, it could have been a more cohesive unit, because there was some good parts. There were things I liked about the Bart and Milhouse story, and especially with Lisa narrating, I thought it was actually going to lead into like she witnessed it or something.
Like it's a retrospective. It's her telling the story. Like who's she telling the story to?
Yeah.
There was a bit where the format kind of got broken when Marge kind of interrupted before the ad break, saying your Bart's ready, blah blah blah. It's like that didn't really go anywhere. Whereas if they brought it full circle and at the end we were like, this is maybe like a blog that she's doing and like two people are reading it. Like make it so that she's told all of us the story.
Yeah.
And then we kind of see what she's doing it for, and it's like super minute.
No, it'd be a nice little detail to sort of bring the whole thing and make it look like a package,
Yeah.
Anyway, so play count. How many times before tonight do you think you've seen this episode?
I know it's 0.
What's Italian for nothing?
Zero. I think this might be the 3rd time I've seen it. But did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? This is where it gets tricky, right?
They've done that kind of format break before.
So, yeah, the narration wasn't essentially out of character for the show. They've done narration bits. I think we can just agree it wasn't well executed. It didn't really hold any weight, and it didn't really lead up to anything.
No. Lisa would take that, dare I say, condescending, not quite condescending, but like...
Should be holier than thou.
Yeah, like kind of, she was very patronizing of him at certain points. So that, I believe.
Yeah.
Homer's dumb schemes totally fits in with his kind of character.
Everyone was being themselves.
I don't know about Abe, because we've seen enough of him kind of being a badass in war.
That's a good point.
I don't buy him being a coward, secret coward, like the whole time.
Yeah, especially when you think of the Tong Teen episode.
Yeah.
And, like, Burns was the coward in that, and he was having to jump on grenades and stuff. Get his keister photoed for Stars and Stripes. At least he thinks it was Stars and Stripes.
So I don't think that was true to Abe.
Either tough or completely senile with him hiding out as a burlesque performer in Germany during the war.
Yeah.
Won't you come home?
The amnesia is a very easy trope to do, and it's dumb and it's played out, and I'm kind of over that.
Yeah, I think it was a fine enough way to get Milhouse to forget. I actually don't mind the idea that those stupid little rubber bands being flicked onto him was the thing that twigged his memory.
The God Livestrong bands were well and truly in the past by then.
I think.
No, I think they were still. It was probably
pretty sure
past, but
I was going to say, because Lance Armstrong was definitely out by then. I'm sure 2014 he was definitely out as a cheat.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't always associate those rubber bands with his thing, like, because just at one stage they just became the new fucking Pogs, the new yo-yos, that people had collections of them, and
so many on their arms. Yeah.
I think he started it, and then everyone was like, oh yeah, for causes, we'll just jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah, South Park do a great episode. I think it's called Scores for a Cause, where they talk about the manufacture of these little fucking rubber bands, and yeah, I didn't mind some of the material that they mined from it. Yeah, it's a weird episode of a lot of flatness, but can we talk about some of the wacky moments?
Oh, I've got so many wacky little circles on my page. Cletus's weird children.
I fucking hated this joke.
Yeah, I really didn't like it. Wheel and Barrow.
And Barrow. At first, the child who won the 3-legged race.
Tripod.
And he has 3 legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then Wheel and Barrow, who are joined.
Barrow, his torso comes out of Wheels' stomach, I guess.
Yeah, so he has to walk around on his hands. And
they're the conjoined twins that are perpetually doing doggy style.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, they're doing the wheelbarrow maneuver. That's the position, the wheelbarrow.
Oh,
Tweet
right.
as we put the legs either side of you.
But he doesn't
And
have
hold-
legs.
No, that's right. But if he
Disqualified.
did, yeah.
I call shenanigans on Cletus's kid, and I'm not convinced they aren't taking performance-enhancing drugs.
The thing is, there's always jokes about Cletus's kids. But sometimes you just see, like, there's 20 of them or whatever. Those two were quite old.
Oh, yeah. Cletus will have whatever children they need to suit the joke at the time. And the other wacky thing that I hated about Cletus in this episode, where they're, like, trying to get fireworks off him.
Yeah.
And
Hey, there's a crystal meth in this,
Oh, crystal meth, then what did I do with gunpowder?
Kaboom. Uh-oh.
We're feuding with the Escobars again.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Brandine coming out brandishing her machine guns.
Like dual
and-
M16s.
Yeah,
or
she's like,
whatever.
does that mean I can't talk to Maria no more?
Yeah.
And that was the gross, wacky. It was like,
Oh, and then even worse, the pig's been eating the C4 bricks again.
Which had nothing to do with anything.
Nope, you just wanted to see a pig explode into chunks.
Like, yeah.
you know what? I'm sure that this is them tapping into Breaking Bad at the time.
Yeah.
It's
Ooh,
methy
yeah.
and they're white trash meth people.
They're
and
exploding animals, yeah. But yeah, the thing I hated about the pig bit is just to explode a pig into piggy chunks was just over the top and didn't have anything to do with what was just transpiring.
I was looking away at the time, but in my peripheries and when I looked back up, it looks quite gruesome.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There was red chunks.
But did the pig give a look before?
That's kind of glassy-eyed, and
Oh.
then...
Yeah, he
No.
was like one yikes sign away from, being a Looney Tune.
Speaking of Looney Tunes,
Yeah,
one of our cameo
Oh,
guest
yeah.
people.
Edwin Moses, who's apparently an Olympic hurdler, and they made no shortage of hurdling
So
jokes.
many.
Yeah.
After he leaves and he hurdles over a bunch of things, and the third thing he jumps over
Is a cliff.
is a cliff,
Yeah.
and he falls down Wile E. Coyote style and poofs on the.
Yep.
He said something to himself as he fell. Good on you, Edwin, or something. I was like, what is he talking about?
Oh,
I don't know. Like, they were just scraping for this
Yeah.
guest star. All the hurdle jokes were dumb and just...
Funnily enough, I had a note that said, stop being Looney Tunes later on when they were the gunpowder. Oh, no, it's in the cobblestone district.
Oh, my
watch out. We'll
God.
be safe with the gas lamps. Oh, look, there's a parade of fire twirlers. And it was like, stop it. Stop. This is going on now for about 30, 40 seconds.
And then they pull up and Homer throws his cigar and...
What is there? What that's what we get for the B plot? What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
I think it's meant to be funny because they're in extreme danger.
But they aren't. There's no danger.
Yeah, even when they set the thing on fire, they
The
cut
thing
away.
is on
so-
fire, and then a bit of Jordan's anal corner.
Jordan's anal corner.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I will be playing the part of BT Calloway.
Jordan's anal corner. Spot on impression.
You'll notice that in one of the shots, the top barrel clearly is set on
It's
fire.
set on fire.
Yeah.
And then in the next shot, it's not. What
Yeah.
are we supposed to expect? That this is some kind of magic barrel?
Can I go through the rest of my anal corners while we're just in this
We're
section?
in the anal corner.
Okay.
Let's get through them.
Just on that note, Giuseppe says, this gunpowder is crystal meth. Well, then it's not gunpowder, it's crystal meth. Anyway.
Good point.
Just-
Good point.
At the very start, Lisa says, our Lord Buddha, but then quotes like a Bible phrase.
Oh, does she?
Well, it's got Psalm 16, whatever, on
Yeah.
the title card. And
Yeah,
she's talking
We
about
need
Buddha.
Lisa jokes. She's a Buddhist.
Yeah.
Easy, low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, this title card sequence did nothing for me as well, and I thought it was going to be a thing that they brought back, like have a little paragraph or whatever at the start of each chapter in the story or whatever, but they didn't. It was just another one of these things that they just picked up and dropped.
Is Uda dead?
I think they play with like his disappearance after that one episode.
Right,
Where
okay.
is Uta? We just need closure. But yeah, apparently now he's running books and
Yep. Owns Willie,
loan sharking.
essentially. Yeah.
Which Jordan's anal corner,
Yeah.
I hated that because we see where that really sad, was it a joke?
As a
where
mule or pony or something.
Willie locks up the pony and goes, see you next year, in his shack, and then later says, Uda owns my shack.
Yeah. Also, that horse has got to poop and eat somewhere.
I don't even know why they did this. It
No.
was like,
And they stayed on it for a
Yeah.
long time.
Like
Yeah.
a close shot on those eyes.
No sound. No sound. It was just sad-looking horse
Yeah,
eyes.
like worried almost, anxious about,
He-
another
yeah.
year of this.
yeah. And after the Fine Enough Ralph line, I liked the Play-Doh it made out of its
Oh,
back
yeah.
or whatever.
Two more quick ones, sorry.
Yeah.
How did Maggie get out of her cot to give him the chicken feather in the first place? I know she's...
She can operate a sniper rifle, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. She can great escape herself. Okay, I'll take that one out. Wizards did it. Maggie did it.
Yeah.
And just the last one was when Bart is revealed to be a coward at that kind of thing and in his honor.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
in
we're
the town square.
Yeah.
Little appreciation ceremony.
Exactly, that's the one. When he's revealed to be a coward, he runs away and his pin falls off. But at the end, it's revealed that he still has it to kind of stitch up Maggie's... to pin the bear back together so that the feathers stop falling out.
That was kind of a little bit that I liked at the end of him and Maggie bonding, but now that I think about it, it pisses me off because there should have been a scene where he gave it to Milhouse, right?
Or Milhouse should have picked it up. Or someone should have picked it up, like Sideshow Mel should have picked it up and put it on Milhouse. Like, you're the true winner.
That was one where I'm glad someone, like when Sideshow Mel was doing his monologuing and someone goes, oh, God, shut up. It's like, thank you.
Yeah.
Those were weird voices. That didn't sound like any of the regular cast.
Yeah?
Those sounded like
strange,
separate, get someone in, like a you won a competition kind of thing.
Yeah, they did. Well, the other guest star of this episode was Glenn Close.
Are you kidding me?
She was playing Mona in the flashback.
This was like one line.
Yeah, and it was like, hey, stop being a fuckhead or something.
I want to take a class.
Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn. You're done for today.
Thanks, Academy Award winning Glenn Close.
So how about the heart of this episode? What were some of the heart moments that stuck out to you guys?
I liked that ends the stinger. Like, it lost me at the end of it when Bart is, he's brushing his teeth and Maggie gives him another feather, and then we realize that because she's been giving feathers out the whole episode and Bart thinks it means he's a chicken, but her teddy bear is ripped, and so he takes the first prize ribbon and he stitches it, and I was just like,
there you go, kid.
It was like, I don't know, you don't really see Bart and Maggie interact a lot.
No, it's true. Actually, good point.
It was a nice, like, brotherly moment, and then in the background, she just started, like, making chicken noises and flapping her. I was just like, oh.
You ruined it.
Well, it didn't need to be a joke. That's nice. You can end it nice. You don't have to end it with a bad joke. My God, what is wrong with people?
Yeah. I feel like sometimes they treat Maggie like Nibbler almost. Way smarter beyond her years kind of thing. Like, you can do it with the dogs, fine, but like doing it with Maggie all the time, it's kind of, I don't know.
Well, at a certain point, it stops being funny, It's the surprise element of comedy of Maggie suddenly being, able to do these sort of things. Like, she didn't actually learn to operate a firearm to shoot Mr. Burns. The thing just landed in her hand and went off. Whereas there's a season 13 episode where she literally operates a sniper rifle to take out the mafia.
Yeah.
And see, that's the difference. She was still a baby in that thing. She did the shifty eyes at the end of Who Shot Mr. Burns, and that was the funny bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't that she could, it's that she might.
Oh, that's a good episode.
Yeah.
It is. So good.
There's lots of those little, like, someone else is crying, and so she takes out another dummy and, like, gives it to them and stuff. Like, I can imagine, like, that's the limit of, like, her intelligence, I feel, like, should be for humor and that kind of thing.
Yeah, someone's sad, I'll give them the thing that makes me happy.
There's one time when Homer's crying. Like, I feel like she's done it a few times where she's, shoved it in Homer's mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good bit. Yeah, the only other thing that I really have to say about the heart moment is at the end where Bart does seek redemption by pulling the van in front of the fireworks. I gotta say, I think it was a fine enough thing to sort of give Milhouse the credit then, but also, he put him in very real danger.
Totally. I thought they were going to run away. I thought we were going back to the coward thing. He's I'm going to save Milhouse. Instead, I'm going to drive him directly in front of a barrage of explosives.
Yeah, in a combustible vehicle.
Thank you.
And also, the Springfield audience was just in a very, 2-meter wide column, obviously.
a van's length.
Yeah, very
to avoid getting hit.
What a specific problem. With a specific solution.
I was going to say, speaking of firearms, I wanted to know what you thought of this Wiggum and Lou corner.
The old muskets.
Yeah, Snake takes the thing, and him and Lou are in the Civil War kind of reenactment costumes, and they're like, okay, tamp, put the ball bearing in, blah, blah, blah. And then it went a second time round the course. And
yeah, it was a joke that was just based on how far can we drag this out. Oh, wasn't loading old muskets hard? And I think it actually would have been, they could have made it work if then they launched into a comment on, right to bear arms.
Well, totally. I mean, that was their last moment.
Yeah.
Was like a gun in a school. And then the next one was it was right there, like for a really
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, the fruit's there. It's low hanging. Pick it. But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
I liked the tone. I didn't find the episode funny, but I liked the tone that it was going for. Like quite relatively sincere, like, moral kind of tale. I liked it, especially from what I've seen of the HD era.
Yeah.
I found that tone refreshing.
Yeah, we started you in the bottom of the pit of failure, though.
Oh my God.
Anything was going to be an improvement from Grampy, Can You Hear Me? What do you reckon, Jordan?
I don't think I would. I was just thinking about it. I'm like, Bart Redemption Story. One that I liked way better that was done, I think, handled way better was the one where he gets up early on Christmas to like play with the toys
Yes.
and everything burns down and the family, the whole town is pitching in to like buy them a new car and all
I
this
didn't
stuff.
realize we were talking about better episodes.
Yeah. No, I would much prefer to watch that one than this one. Then I would probably just skip it.
Yeah.
I would clarify, probably Hangover Test.
Yeah.
Like, because it is like a relatively smooth ride, it doesn't have high peaks, and the lows aren't really that low.
Yeah, it's not an offensive
It's
episode by
middling, real middling.
Yeah, just personally, I don't think there's anything for me to return to. Anything that I liked about this episode, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. That's serviceable. It was a smooth ride. They didn't have any sudden shifts in plot or anything, but also the plot they had wasn't super cohesive. Musical moments of this episode.
Oh, do we have to?
Unfortunately, I'm sorry, mate. So yeah, they keep returning to this song, which
Sometimes when we touch.
by Dan Hill, apparently.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of him, but looking at his Wikipedia page, the man's got a career.
Yeah. You'd heard the song, though, before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere. It's been used, I'm sure.
In every different industry ad,
Yeah.
for everything.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I saw it in an episode of Family Guy when Peter falls in love with this cardboard cutout of an old Playboy model.
Sounds like a stellar episode just off, hand.
Oh, yeah, no, Family Guy was firing on all cylinders in that era. They just kept returning to it way too much.
Yeah.
So they did it 2 or 3 times in episode to wrap around this final fireworks scene. And then, Homer and Giuseppe's cover of it during the credits was just nauseating.
Yeah. The one joke about it that I didn't mind was the play order for the songs that they were going to use was like Stars and Stripes Forever, America the Beautiful, I think, and then like Homer putting up Sometimes When We Touch and Giuseppe like tearing it off and then like swapping it for first. And I'm like, okay, that bit's okay.
Yeah.
But then to then play the song a couple of times after, I was kind of,
You just needed one play.
Yeah.
One setup and one play. Because, we know the song not by name.
No.
Really?
Like, is that the
No.
one? And
Yeah,
then-
it's like one of those songs where it's like, how do I know all these lyrics to it? It's
right?
Have I just absorbed it through osmosis? Like the other week I was in Kmart and Taxi Rides Creeping Up Slowly came on over the speaker and I'm like, oh God, this song's awful, but why do I know every word? Why am I clicking and tapping? Oh my God, I like this song. What's happening?
When's that one?
'Cause we're creeping up slowly. She's taking me over.
God.
She's turning me on.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
okay.
Early 2000s turntables in rock bands. Remember that?
Nice. Yeah.
Oh,
Taxi Ride.
I just got taken back there. What a
Yeah, man.
what a wonderful place.
Yeah.
So many white people with dreadlocks.
Yeah. I was about to say, Limp Bizkit had a turntablist.
Yeah, in heavy metal and in pop music, you also had that Hey Leonardo song. She likes me for me.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the early aughts. All right, we're getting into the final stretch. Oscar, what would you like to change about this episode?
I would like to change the A and B story.
How much?
As in flip them.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, switching it so that the A story was Homer and his love of fireworks and that story, because I feel like that had enough heart that you could get into it.
Yeah.
And you could explore it. You could bring Grandpa in and make him more fundamental, make it a family connection. You could have it so that in the final act, he can use that to help resolve Bart's situation. Like you could have it full come circle. You could have it come full circle.
Full Cum Circle is a video that you can find
Link is in the
in the podcast description.
Incognito mode. Mode.
Yeah.
But yes, to bring them together and make them more cohesive together.
Yes.
Oh, he's destroyed himself.
I'm going to take a
Well
moment.
done.
I do like that idea, though, that maybe the problems with the episode are the amount of importance that they gave to the wrong story, because I felt like the A story taking up the majority, it really dragged. That was one of the things that made...
it didn't need maybe half its scenes,
Yeah.
and it would have been more powerful.
Yeah, because it felt like for a lot of it, they were just trying to hammer home that Milhouse doesn't remember and Bart's feeling guilty.
Kind of took a little bit too long. It made Bart kind of feel like, oh, no, I'm in the clear as long as he doesn't remember, that kind of thing. And it did drag, and it didn't actually get to the meat of the story. I was going to say, building on your idea, just get rid of the character of Giuseppe and kind of install Abe in there instead, and make it a kind of a father-son caper about, like, we need to get fireworks from somewhere, but how are we going to get the fireworks? And then putting on this show, because I know nothing about, like, setting them up or do it. I don't know, something about that, because I think Giuseppe was kind of thrown in there as a plot device.
He's fruitless as a character. Because really, that character could be literally anyone. Like, they don't have to be a part of the whole story. Maybe it's just like, oh yeah, he died, that old man, you know, who used to do the fireworks, and so now I'm gonna try and find another old man.
And
Dad.
That becomes a way for Homer and Abe to, like, search for this dead guy's old fireworks treasure or whatever.
And it's up to us to save 4th of July.
That's right. And you can still have that bit with him saying, I just shoot rockets at God's face at the start.
You could also have someone who, like, an English character, help save them.
Yeah.
An English character. The English saved 4th of July.
Yeah.
And then you could have a kind of a 3 generations of Simpson men kind of resolving their issues kind of in one fell swoop. I like it. Yeah.
Jordan, do you have any final notes?
Him banging the pots. It's like, this is my new thing. And like, no, you've been doing the I am so great thing.
Quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. Wacky Milhouse 6-pack.
I kind of liked the idea of the dummy tummy, but also they didn't stick with it because he returned to his normal size throughout the episode.
Yeah, and then it was Dummy Tummy by Body Liar. I kind of like that as a brand name.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Why, when they were doing the odds on the bookmaking, did they pull down a map of the USSR?
Was this?
I do not even remember this.
Yeah, they're like, all bets are off, teacher's coming, gotta hide it, and they, pull down the...
Well, I guess because it's a public school. There's always, like, jokes where, like, all of their books are out of date.
Yeah, it's just
like that kind of fits in well, but because they're not inside.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I actually liked the whole odds and betting thing as a device to hang the episode on, and I thought this was going to be a thing where Martin's bet was going to come back later in the episode. I think that's another thing that I'd change, is that Martin was suspect, and then he did his own sleuthing and investigating to find out what was wrong.
Yeah, that would have worked.
So yeah, that's actually what I would have had. I would have had a bit more conspiracy going on.
Ooh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah, the bullies are trying to hide the fact that they had Milhouse beat up. Maybe Lisa saw it, and that's why she's narrating this. And Bart's racked with guilt, and also the bullies might be threatening him as well not to come clean, and like Bart's having a crisis of conscience.
Yeah, it becomes like a crime conspiracy.
Yeah.
You could have it all school level. The whole thing could be school level. And
yeah, absolutely.
All systems in on it.
Oh my God, how far does it go?
Yeah.
Turns out Skinner's involved as well. And
how did Bart win the race?
He's a budgie boy.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, Milhouse, obviously, like, he said, I've got a secret. I've been training for this all summer. But then, like, Bart is coming second and is daylight third. There's no one else in that race.
He's enough to stand there and have a moral quandary.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of time during a race to be able to sit there and just think about, like, should I?
Yeah.
The race itself was paced poorly because, it looks really tight until it went into the section of the woods that no teacher can see. And also no teacher is supervising because it's the section that you can't see.
Yeah, that MASH bit was dumb too.
Oh, so again...
They've done that before, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me 50 cc's of hot fudge. And the trampoline as well.
Yes. Though I think that was more of a Civil War thing.
Yeah, there is a specific movie that they're referencing in that one. Yeah. There wasn't even any joke here. It was just they were playing the MASH theme.
No. There was a joke, like putting them on the helicopter.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And then spinning around on the thing. He would have gone flying.
Yeah, why didn't he fall off? That would have been funny.
That would have been great.
Ice cream headache and then some injuries to boot.
Oh, yeah. Homer's horribly burned as a child from the sparklers in his ears.
Yeah.
His head caught completely on fire.
hated this.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny.
Yeah, I would have minded if he'd held it for too long, because those things get really hot.
Yeah.
And then he'd burn his hand. It was like, oh no, never held another sparkler again or something. I don't
You're
know.
holding one right now.
Yeah.
Kirk scared at that stupid kids TV show.
Yep.
Didn't like it.
Well, yeah, this is just more piling on Kirk, and again, it just gets to a point where it's like, eh. All right, it's time for Speedy Quick Elliot Note. Elliot! The egg toss bit was just really stupid. Oh, now don't you go throwing those eggs at me. Not a second time. Oh, for a third time, fuck you. They mentioned the Expendables for no fucking reason, and I think it was just so Giuseppe can go, oh, well, I'm younger than Sylvester Stallone, waka.
I think it was to say, the Expendable movies are really bad, but Homer thinks they're great.
Yeah.
We could guess that.
They have Charlie Brown in his ghost costume for what fucking reason?
No reason.
I thought that was Bart because...
Like hiding?
Yeah, because no one wants him around anymore because he's a coward and everything. So to get to participate in anything, he had to kind of come in costume. But then it was just like, wrong holiday, Charlie Brown. And
that would have at least meant something. And then he's going incognito because he's trying to develop a plan to, I don't know, make Milhouse look better again or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, in my final note, at one point, someone jumps on the boat, the Yellow Belly. I just thought that was interesting because the next...
Grandpa.
It was Grandpa.
Because he is a coward.
Because the next episode we're covering is called Old Yellow Belly.
Oh my God.
Coincidence.
Wait,
the Yellow Belly playlist.
Does Yellow Belly make sense in a Simpsons universe?
No, it doesn't.
Because they'd all have yellow
Is their
bellies.
yellow
I mean,
the same
not
as
all of
our
them.
yellow?
Do they see colours the same way we see colours?
Oh my
Yeah, I don't
Interesting.
Anyway, we'll find out.
All right, guys, it is time to rank this thing.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do that first, hey.
On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the very bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just, you give it participant. But for the good rankings, you got good, bronze, great, silver, excellent, gold, but for the best of the very best, the essential episodes, the ones that the Simpsons could not exist without, you give those episodes cubic zirconia. Now I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. I'm giving this a participant. I got to say, running through my notes at the end, I had a lot more angry things to say about it, but this episode was more flat than anything. They didn't achieve any sense of greatness for me. Jordan?
Yeah, this is a really easy participant for me as well. It's one of those episodes that, again, playing the role of Beta Calloway, I'm going to forget most of it by tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's nothing in it that I really would want to rewatch. It's like one of those movies that you're like, I've seen it now. I don't need to revisit it anymore. So, yeah.
Done.
Participant.
Oscar, finish it off.
I don't remember it now. I don't remember maybe 70% of it. Honestly, it's all just it's like a peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah, I'll read out a line and you tell me if it was from the episode or not.
We'll listen back to the podcast. Yeah. Oh, did that happen? Oh, how about that?
Well, I'm gonna participation easy.
I was about to say, saying participation instead of participant makes you think of the participation medals you got at little athletics or cross country or something at school where you're like, oh, you tried.
And that's what this episode is. It's a participation badge being pinned on a bear that's losing its stuffing.
Oh my God. Is The Simpsons at this point in 2014 the bear losing its stuffing?
Oh.
They drew in their own metaphor.
I think it's lost 80% of its stuffing at this stage. It's barely hanging on.
All right, guys. Well, that'll average out into being a participant. This will join actually other season 25 episodes, Yellow Subterfuge, when Skinner stops Bart from going on the submarine.
Yep.
Diggs, where Daniel Radcliffe and Bart get really into falconry, playing with falcons. And Brick Like Me, the Lego episode, which looked great, but the story is garbage. And other such episodes like The Surfsons from season 29, the weird medieval parody, My Fair Laddie and My Fair Lady, Prankster Rap, President Ward Pearls, the ones that we did in Teenage Wasteland.
Yeah, all of those are not terrible episodes. They're just kind of they're there and they're the part of the wallpaper and you can skip them. There's nothing to really be gleaned. It's almost to the point where I'd rather watch a failure than a participant.
Yeah, you get more out of getting angry and
it's like you feel something as opposed to nothing.
All right, before we move on, let's play a quick game of Is That Reputation Justified?
Wait, hold on. Is that reputation justified?
Nice. Thank you for the theme music.
That's BT's. I'm pretty sure I've just copied it straight from him.
A BT Calloway composition.
Yeah.
Old mate Dennis Perkins of the AV Club gave this episode a C+. Said it's a middling episode, indifferently constructed.
That's on point.
Middling and indifferent, yes.
That
Two
reputation
words.
is justified.
Yeah.
But Tony Sokol of Den of Geek gave this episode
Tony, no.
4 or 5 stars.
Oh, Tony, why'd you do it?
4 or 5.
Maybe he's only seen season 25 episodes.
Yeah.
This is that Simpsons show that all the kids are going on about.
Yeah.
I'll watch one of their newer episodes, which is no doubt one of the better episodes.
Yeah, I just realized that's probably my least favorite Gracie Films interjection by Homer.
Usher, get the shush lady out. Fucking lame. All right, guys, let's go back to the teens era now. We're going to go to season 14 with, as I mentioned before, Old Yellow Belly. We'll be back. And we are back, and we just watched our teens era episode for the evening, which was season 14, episode 19, Old Yellow Belly. This was first released in May of '03, and it was directed by Bob Anderson and written by John Frink and Don Payne. In this episode, Bart gets a new treehouse, but at the grand opening it sets on fire and Homer becomes trapped in the fire. And Santa's little helper chooses not to rescue him, but runs away with a turkey in act of cowardice, and the cat ends up saving Homer. And so Homer disowns Santa's little helper, who becomes the new Duff Beer spokes dog. In another twist, the Simpsons start getting a lot of fame and popularity from Santa's Little Helper's newfound fame. His old owner from episode 1 comes back to reclaim him back. Guys, what did you think?
I think the sheer fact that took about 45 seconds for you to go work through the plot kind of gives an indication as
And I'm leaving a lot out.
how well this story flowed. Flew? No.
Flowered.
Yeah,
Okay.
flowered.
Look, I like this episode, though.
It wasn't bad. Yeah.
There were a lot of laugh out loud moments, but it was also a bit ridiculous in points.
Yeah, it's got some of my favorite images.
Yeah?
Yeah, like there's some images from that episode that have stuck with me throughout all of this time, and they still made me laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, it started off, Oscar. For better or worse, what's a moment from the story that sticks out to you?
Oh, it would probably be when the Amish have been called.
Yeah.
But it's the one particular moment where there's an Amish man holding the devil at pitchfork.
Points.
So weird.
It's just this little, like, we see them doing things and they run, and there's one that's just holding him up, like classic red devil, goat legs, and he drops it and he just walks off. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't like the standard devil that we've seen in like earlier seasons of The Simpsons. It was a very much a different one. It was so out of place, but yeah, I got a chuckle out of it.
It's so incredibly wacky.
Super wacky.
But I think he is there at the opening. I think I saw him in the background. I think I saw him walking by in the background.
Hidden devil. Let us know in post-production, Elliot, if that's what happened.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Editing by Elliot Jay here to say that, no, Oscar, you're not saying things. The devil was in the background of that scene. I'll post up a picture tomorrow after the podcast airs. Anyway, back to the show.
Definitely very strange because, again, after the guy is like, kind of deal with you later, kind of that look on his face, he just kind of whistles and walks off like, oh, well.
That was a close one.
Yep, got away with it.
I liked this as a funny bit to bring the Amish in to rebuild Bart's treehouse for him. I thought there was, a decent amount of good material that came out of it too. As you were saying, like when they were doing like not the Avengers Assemble, the Amish Assemble.
Yeah, shaking the cowbell,
Yeah.
ringing out the conch.
Yeah, I wonder if every household like needs an Amish cowbell for...
My household does. I feel like that'd be amazing.
It'd be a while before they got there.
That's all right.
Yeah.
To the buggy mobile.
Yeah, I liked all that. I guess the one thing that bugs me about their involvement in the story is that we don't actually spend that much time in Bart's new treehouse because it's pretty much the only lines of dialogue that gets said in the grand opening of the treehouse is that, oh, did you do the electricity yourself? No, the Amish did it. Well, of course, now we know where this is going.
Who knows more about electricity than the Amish?
Yeah, it was one of these things where I found most of the material around it funny, but it's just... It got through it so quick.
This feels like it does feel like a short episode.
Yeah.
Despite the fact of how long describing the plot is. It's got the long opening. It doesn't have a stinger.
No.
So then it's got that against it. But once it finished, it's like, was this potentially around the period? Because I know the episodes get shorter.
Yeah. Around the mid to late teens, the episodes start getting shorter as the network were making more room for advertisements. Some episodes were getting as low as 19 minutes. Jordan, how about you? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
I think for better. I think I like it because we did an episode, a podcast episode once, where it was almost like the evolution of Duffman in reverse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was 3 episodes with Duffman in it. And you kind
really?
of saw like...
I didn't even plan for it either.
Yeah.
We just had, an accidental Duffman playlist.
And this was kind of... I like his story because it is in canon and it does make sense and they've kept it correct. Like he does have a bit of a downturn and... Yeah, I liked his little turn in this, I suppose, because he's a really healthy human being when he's not Duffman.
Yeah.
But he's drawn to it. Like, it's calls to him. He can't stand not being Duffman.
It's who he is.
Yeah. He's so tied to it, and I like how they deal with Duffman, even in later episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, especially when they're converting him, like when he's at the men's shelter or whatever, they barely convince him. They say, "Come back, Duffman," and he essentially just talks himself.
He convinces himself into it
until he's doing the voice.
I like it. I like it that like you just get him talking about it and it'll come, you know?
Yeah, get him to say something about a cool, crisp day or whatever.
Yeah. It was a bit of a good misdirect as well because they say like, "Oh, he's in here," and you're expecting him to be like this haggard, like alcoholic,
Totally
suffering, and he's just like, no, I'm like the teacher and helping, and I mean his maths problems are about beer, but he's a genuinely good human.
At the men's shelter where we add God to your misery.
Yeah,
that was a great sign joke.
That. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing as well to involve him in the last act of the episode and to try and get him to save Homer. And it's especially funny when he's just as cowardice as Santa's little helper is.
He's not just as cowardice. There is a shark involved when he goes
Yeah.
to do it.
Santa's little helper is just like, that water is too cold.
Spicy.
That's true. There is a bigger risk to go into that water. I do just think there was probably just one too many lines of dialogue from Duffman because, maybe that's the point of the character. Oh, this corporate spokesman, he never turns it off,
Yeah.
Give it a rest, Barry.
I did like, what about my son, Duff Boy and
Duff Girl and Duff Lad.
Yeah, and like they were one-shot actors that we hired for like a promo, and he goes, "Oh yeah," like just "Oh yeah," but just really sad.
Yeah, he really can't turn it off. He's got a really bad problem with, like dissociating from this character. Yeah, and I'd say the thing about this episode that sticks out most to me is he doesn't have a name, but they included the guy from episode 1, Santa's Little Helper's old owner, and this was a pretty interesting move for them to make, to bring him back. And it was kind of earned as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The first season characters, they just are different. The way the characters were drawn then are just different. So it's always interesting when they bring someone who debuted in the first season into like modern Simpsons.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think like he looks good. Like it's a good kind of like conversion to a good update of him.
Because often the models were not set in stone at that stage as well.
Yeah.
So you were it was a bit of a mixed bag as to what you might get.
Yeah, we had Barney with blonde hair and Moe and Chief Wiggum both had black hair.
And Black Smithers.
Black Smithers, yeah. Yeah, so it's an interesting move for them to make to bring him back, and I don't think they wasted it either because they had him doing what that guy would have been doing back in the day, is exploiting Santa's Little Helper for money. And to have it be because Homer publicly disowned the dog, I think was actually a really clever move and like showed him as being an opportunistic character.
I feel like with the structure of this episode, it doesn't really have an overarching arc. It is lots of like this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this. But I feel like it's entertaining enough that doesn't really matter. I feel like lack of structure may be a cross against the episode, but it doesn't let the episode down.
No, I had a good old time with this.
Yeah.
But play count, how many times before tonight do you think you've seen this episode?
I've seen it maybe 4 or 5 times.
Yeah? Jordan, you don't think you've seen it?
I didn't remember it.
I remember this one really well, actually. I remember the VHS tape that it was on. I had It was this episode, Mo Baby Blues, The Simpsons Tall Tales, and Smart and Smarter, where they find out Maggie's a genius and she goes to a gifted school. And yeah, this was just like my little stoner Simpsons playlist to, chuck it on when I had a few tokies of the old bong pipes.
A good hot injection of the Mary.
When you say
Hello,
it like
fellow kids.
when you say it like that, yeah, it makes it sound like you're really trying to fit in. Yes, I had many rips of the bong.
So ultimately,
Of
did this
course.
feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They've kind of done this story a couple of times by this stage as well. I'm thinking of when Bart gets Laddie before this? After
Yeah,
this?
way before this.
Because remember, and that blind guy
yeah.
takes in Santa's Little Helper, or the one where Mr. Burns takes in Santa's Little Helper, and it's kind of like a choice.
Anywhere where like Santa's Little Helper is being rented out for the week.
Yeah.
It's someone else's, and Bart needs to get him back. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is like a Simpsons trope. So I'm going to say, yes, it does feel like a Simpsons episode for that reason. I'm not saying that it's better or worse necessarily, but yeah, it is that kind of story that they've done before.
Yeah, I'd say integrity-wise, like, they're bending Duffman a bit, but that's good because they're showing him on a down slump. And Homer as well, like, I kind of believe him being so fickle about which pet he loves that week.
Spiteful.
Spiteful and fickle. But yeah, they're probably bending Santa's Little Helper a bit too far in how sentient of a dog he actually is, especially once he gets famous and whatever. And yeah, he's doing a game show and he's hosting the segment of things that your toothbrush say to you or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a game of like he's trying to describe it without saying what it is.
Yeah. My favorite one of those from Robot Chicken was the Akbar's trying to describe what a trap was.
Oh, yeah.
You might get caught in it.
Like Taboo.
So yeah, those are the only things that I have problems with, but also it's a fucking cartoon. These are ones where I'm saying, yeah, you are having a good enough time in this episode to, let some of that shit slide. But I kind of think it was weak at the end how, Homer's drowning, and the best thing that a whole town full of people on a beach can think is, no, let's step aside and let the dog do it,
Yeah, that's what I was worried about, because the military guys are there, the Navy guys.
And there has to be a surf lifesaver there. So yeah, the show's it's unmistakably teens, but other than it feeling a bit sort of sketch show at times, I don't think it really broke the integrity that hard.
No.
No, and with what moments we've seen of the animals, the pets, that's established. And I feel like, especially with the way that Santa's Little Helper initially, like before he becomes famous, like he's still acting like a dog.
Yeah.
He's saving the turkey. He's not being knowing. He wants to get out of that burning treehouse.
Yeah, and he goes to step towards Homer, but, a big gush of flames.
That's scary.
He was probably right to go save himself.
Yeah. And also, it's canonical, because we know that there must be an Amish community next to Springfield.
Yes.
It's a fine bar in English, but to be sure, there's no pool. Like, we definitely know there's Amish in the neighborhood somewhere.
They're close by.
Yeah. So it makes sense that they would be just like across the river in the next kind of valley.
I think they're living in North Haverbrook, the North Haverbrook Amish. So how about some of the wacky moments of this episode?
Snowball always been a boy?
That stood out to me too.
I don't think so. I think Snowball's a girl.
But then, in this one is like definitely used.
They say several
male
times.
pronouns.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because I picked it up once when Bart said it, of like, what can you do, boy?
Yeah. And Homer says it at one stage as well, I think, right at the end.
Yeah. What has he done for me lately? Because I picked that up, right? Like, how do you like to play boy or something?
Yeah.
And I thought it was just like, oh, that's Bart because he's so used to being with Santa's Little Helper and he just says that instinctively.
Totally. And I feel like I can explain it away because Lisa would use like feminine nicknames, like instead of saying like she, girl, it's like, oh, little kitty. Which,
maybe that's our bias because we think dogs as masculine and we think
dogs
of
are
girls.
boys. All dogs are boys and all cats
They're all
are
good
girls.
boys.
Have you ever seen a cat penis?
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to.
It's spiky.
They're horrific.
Really?
Barbed.
Yeah.
Barbed.
Yeah.
They
fuck?
it hooks into the female.
Oh my God.
Oh, wackiness. I guess.
Oh yeah, that's where we are.
Gil is blind now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't like that joke.
Neither did I. Like, I would have been fine if he just went into, cash for your eyes, and then that was it.
Yeah.
But then, what's the anesthetic? A big mallet, and then...
Oh, I'm having second thought. Poof, and then you hear the... Yep.
Yeah.
His voice didn't sound right either.
You don't think?
I don't know what it was. It just wasn't the kind of pathetic that I'm used to, I guess. I like my Gil Jack Lemony, and that's it. Lemony fresh.
New Buzz Collar
Zesty.
with Jack Lemon. So, other wacky moments. This is a bit that I think was fine when Homer brought Snowball 2 to the bar, but then Santa's little helper just shows up out of nowhere, and it's like...
Yeah, I was wondering why he was following Homer everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, no, they would have locked the dog up. Anyway, but it was all worth it just to go, oh, he sat in my dinner. No, don't get up, sweetheart. I'll eat around you.
Yeah, with the setup line, get out, you're insanitary.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you're standing in my dinner.
So, yeah, there were, at the beach at the end, a bit of wackiness with the shark as well.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, you were saying this is a reference? I thought it was a reference to Jaws.
I liked the joke because what Homer says is when he's flailing around on the Duff beer keg is like, oh, how did that, pretty blonde lady get out of this situation? And that one dies, definitely. But the way that they do kill, in quotes, Jaws at the end is by getting a pressurized canister in the mouth and then shooting it and exploding Jaws. But the fact that he says, how did they kill the shark in the movie? And then just happens to get the Duff beer keg in his mouth. I'm like, hey, I see what you did there. It was pretty clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not drawing attention to it like, oh, that's right. Or
That's
something
from
like
that movie, the
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg. Yeah, this was good and a nice way to remove the threat of the shark by getting it drunk.
I love, one of my favorite things is when how quick the crowds are to turn on a dime.
Oh, yeah.
So it really makes me happy.
That bit, yeah. And after when the shark is drunk, they're like, guys want to be him. Girls want to change him.
Yeah.
It's like this shark is just rolling around in the shallows. Like, well, was it Shark McDuff?
The girls in the bikini come along. One of them kisses him on the mouth.
Yeah.
Yep. Surf rock. It's
It's a party. It doesn't need to make sense.
yeah, definitely. It's not really wackiness, but so they're watching TV. Bart's watching the Krusty the Clown show, and there was the bit with the spiky rattlesnake or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I thought nothing of this bit. It was just Krusty's getting attacked by a snake. Funny. But then they cut to a beer commercial in a kids show. Like,
I don't think the standards
that's
for
so
Springfield's like their version of the FCC is
Yeah.
probably not.
policing like that hard.
Yeah.
Highlighting that makes me appreciate that moment.
Yeah.
That's so funny in retrospective.
I didn't actually think that much of the commercial itself with them up in space with Santa's little helper and the beers and whatever.
It was a bit long.
Yeah, I think it was only made by the NASA joke and fuck.
National Association of
Soliciting alcohol
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that line was made the whole thing worth it. So yeah, I'm sure we'll think of more wackiness along the way, but how about the heart? Did you guys feel bumps?
There was a bit where they tried to make you feel bad where Bart is crying quite vividly.
Oh, he's got like 6 streams of tears coming out of his eyes.
But I was like, yeah, but
The heart between Santa's little helper and Bart was sort of done fine enough, but I think there was more room to hit on it a bit harder.
I think you could have seen it more from maybe a bit more of Santa's little helper point of view because he just seemed very stoic.
Yes, that's what's missing from this episode.
When he was asked to do something like save, he looked a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But he never looked really sad. Bart was like, oh, he's stressed out. They're working him too hard. But
we didn't get like him in like the green room being sad and
yeah.
But then again, this story has been done a few times by The Simpsons.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they've done that for each of those as well.
Yeah, I guess you could have just had a thing where, like, he starts pining when he's on sets and whatever, and he's missing his cues and he's not balancing the thing because, he's distracted. And...
Yeah. I don't know. He sees someone in like a red hat and is all excited and like runs
Yeah.
up, and then it's not.
And it's
You
just
know.
a grocery bag with a red hat on it. Bit of French bread sticking out the top.
Hey, I see what you did there.
Yep.
Get the fuck out of your own house.
And that's the end of that podcast. Yeah, and I think they were going for the heart as well, a bit with Homer's disappointment in him, but again, they weren't really hitting on it that hard.
No.
It felt really exaggerated as well, with the Homer like getting just really uppity and be like, I have no dog and all this stuff. And
And slamming the door and locking it and then locking the little doggy door.
He really slams that doggy door.
Yeah.
Right on his nose. That would hurt. Poor guy.
That made me a little sad.
Yeah. Oh, poor Sans.
But I felt like it was a super overreaction from Homer in order to kind of facilitate the plot.
Definitely. So, yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch it again. It's a nice thing to just to have on.
Yeah.
And tune in and out of, because it's not so story driven. You can do it while you're doing other things. It's great.
And yeah, I'd definitely watch it. Definitely passes the hangover test, and I'd watch it in a playlist. What playlist does this belong in?
This is like Duffman Origins and everything. Yeah, like those
Duff centric, like when Mo wins the Duff competition.
Yep, Pygmalion, which we covered the other
Yeah.
week. Yeah, appearances of the owner of Duff as well, which is one of the guest stars for this episode, Stacey Keach.
They keep Duffman's name because his name is like Barry Duffman or something.
Barry
isn't it?
Duffman.
Yeah, so that flows through nicely if you watch that in a playlist.
Yeah, Santa's little helper.
Oh, definitely.
Epps easily slot that in.
Oh,
And wrap it in.
Is there ever another appearance of the hole in the underwear gang? Like, what was that?
I think it's like Little
The
Rascals.
Yeah.
thing?
Because it's like Data and Martin and Nelson. And it's like I was like,
It's an odd grouping.
Yeah. I was wondering why Data was in there.
it happens every now and again. It's like the Lemon of Troy group. It's
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Little Rascals references then. Because like
Definitely.
with Mo in the...
Were you the ugly one?
No.
Tough kid, smelly. There was one thing that the writers actually said on a commentary once, which Nelson is their friend in summer. During the school year, because like the other bullies are a bit older than him, they're actually off doing other things, whereas he's sort of still relegated at home a bit. And so
I really like that.
yeah, so it explains like Bart on the Road, where Nelson's just their friend for an episode.
Yeah.
And
And when he's at space camp with Martin and stuff as well. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's good. I like it.
yeah. So yeah, how about that opening bit with Bart and the treehouse and spying on the girls? What'd you guys think of all that?
I don't care for it too much. With the way it gets broken, the treehouse gets busted with them spying on the girls, and they tug of war the can on the string, and the
One of my notes there, Millhouse goes, "No one told me they'd be pulling," and I wrote the note Millpool, and I'm like, I did an accidental reference.
Stronger than both of them is the string that is like tugging a whole tree from side to side.
That's
to
industrial
side.
string.
Yeah.
One of our sponsors today on the Simpsons Index. Industrial Spring.
Thank you for being strong and stringing us along. Industrial string, lots of strings attached, forever.
In that bit though, I didn't like the little off-camera joke of comic book guy with his. You've ripped the underwear. That was your ass. No, that's what I call my ass. The Riddler.
It's been shredded by the Riddler.
Yeah.
No, it was your ass.
That's what I got my ass. I liked it as a joke, but it's immediately ruined by the fact that, it's this whole thing of telescopes aren't also microphone telescopes. And then they ruin it by setting up the audio to listen to Lisa. So
Who is literally like 5 meters from there. Comic book guy is like across the other side of town. So
And then what also annoys me about this bit is they set up the audio so they can listen, which Bart then immediately ruins by playing a prank on Lisa.
But he couldn't help it.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
he's not patient. He's not going to sit there and quietly listen.
He doesn't do the long con.
Nancy Cartwright's Marge impression is pretty good though.
I never thought about that, actually. I wonder, if that's a playlist that you can put together, the Simpsons' immediate family impersonating each other.
Yeah.
Totally, and because that's like for voice animation, that's so incredibly hard.
Yeah.
It's like the old thing with Mel Blanc, Bugs Bunny doing an impersonation of Daffy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like them doing impersonations of like this incredible thing. It's like the best of the best can do it.
Yeah.
That's one of those things.
And it's like, that's so many layers. How do you even get to that point? Yeah.
One of my absolute favorite guys for that is Billy West from Futurama.
Yeah.
There is this one episode where they're swapping each other's brains.
Oh, yeah.
And they also have to consider that their voices are now coming through a new filter.
Oh,
So you
totally.
have to put a slight twist on it. And hearing Billy West do fry through Zoidberg's body is, just incredible. Yeah, the fact that dude can pretty much sing in every character that he has is quite amazing.
Yeah.
He's a hero.
Jordan, what would you like to change about the episode?
I know we kind of said it was a bold move and kind of semi-praised it. I think I'd get rid of that original owner and say it, oh, no, you didn't read the Duff contract very well. He's now kind of our property. He's not your dog anymore.
Yeah.
Keep Duff going more, like incorporate it more, because it is already there as a story structure.
So then it keeps Homer like being upset at Santa's Little Helper because he just flips back immediately, which I guess is Homer's MO. So like, oh, stupid dog can't even earn us any money either, and that kind of thing. Maybe that.
No more wads.
Yeah. My wads.
Getting paid in wads.
Ooh,
9 and 10 wads of cash.
So yeah, maybe do something like that.
That'd actually work because then you give both the Simpsons and Duffman a common enemy.
Yeah.
You know, they're both going after the Duff Corporation, and that sort of makes it a bit more coherent. Because
it consolidates the whole. It gives it more of a story.
Definitely.
I don't think that guy really adds anything. Like, he's just there so that Santa's Little Helper doesn't live with them anymore.
Yep.
Not even an obstacle. He's not even an obstacle. They don't have to get over him. He's just like, once it's done, he's like, well, you might as well be with the family that loves you. And I'm like, well, that's nice, but
Yeah, that's sort of a little rush together at the end, sort of, oh, well, there's no conflict here anymore. Whereas I liked how they set him up in this episode. I don't like how they got rid of him. So, yeah, I dig that idea. How about you, Oscar? Is there anything you'd like to change?
More Amish?
More Amish?
More Amish,
Give
maybe.
them the whole first act.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. And the second act and the third act. Have it be the whole episode from their point of view.
What do the Amish owe Springfield?
What do they owe?
Yeah, because they're just on call and like, is it just out of the goodness of their hearts?
Yeah, they're Amish.
They're industrious without being industrial.
Yes.
It's like they've got to drop anything. They could be literally wrangling the devil right now, but they've just got to drop everything at the sound of a cowbell to just go and build a treehouse for a child.
Are feeble and they need protecting.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, what I'd like to change about this episode, I think I'd like to see a bit more something with Snowball too. I don't actually have many good ideas, but I think I would have liked it a bit better if there was maybe even a bit more of a conflict with Snowball getting too much praise and getting...
Conflict between Snowball and Santa's Little Helper.
Yeah.
Now Santa's Helper's getting all of the praise and Snowball's like becoming bitter and like angry, and but then you're pushing the pets even more, anthropomorphizing. Got through that word.
Yeah, you go there in the end.
But I think that'd actually give Santa's Little Helper a reason to start trying to balance the beer on his head and trying to do other things. It's like when they get Stampy and we love you. It's not a bad episode by any stretch. Like, I had a good time with this one. There is just a few plot and pacing and maybe certain bits that you cut out and remove. And we'll get more into that when we go through everyone's final notes, starting with you, Jordan. Actually, no, we'll start with Oscar.
Okay.
What are some of your final notes?
A big fan of Homer going through all of the cat things that he loves. With, cat's up to catch up. And, then Kent Brockman says, then you must love the Broadway show Cats. He says, it's awful.
Yeah, and I got to agree. I don't like Cats the musical. I think it sucks.
I'm generally on the fence with Andrew Lloyd Webber, because I'm a bit of a prog music fan. I like a bit of pretension in my music, but fuck, he pushes that.
The only bit of Cats I've ever seen is in Funny People.
Yeah, the All Alone in the Moonlight.
With the video of the daughter singing.
Yeah.
I love the backyard fight. I love it so much between Homer and Bart.
They're having so much fun.
The laugh of joy, the giggling, and like Bart's throwing wrenches that are just like bagging off his head, and he knocks him down, just starts filling his mouth with cork.
And he's laughing as like his mouth is getting
You got to be really careful with that word, because if you say it with an American accent,
cock. Cool.
It's filling his mouth with cock.
Oh my god. I also love Homer's little fantasy when he finds out that they have unlimited use of the private jet.
Yeah.
And he imagines himself in a top hat and a monocle, and he looks into the front, no one's piloting it, and it's this horrible moment, and he's like,
cool. Like, his wildest fantasy is a disaster.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
It's really weird.
Oh, beach volleyball. It's something to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that was good. Was that all your notes?
Yeah, and the hams.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
all the mention of
hams.
hams.
So many
Marge,
hams.
get the emergency ham.
All we've got is the celebration ham and the condolence ham.
They're
They're just hams. that line saves the ham thing
Yeah.
for me.
Because I liked the first one as well because I didn't mind the get the emergency ham because I was like expecting Marge to go like, we don't have emergency ham, but then for her to be like, oh, okay.
It's like, it's something. It's a protocol that she's
But
following.
yeah, we've got it like behind two glass like cabinets, and everyone's gonna like twist the key
Ba-da.
at the same time. And, yeah.
The ham key. But yeah, and he does it as a punishment to Santa's little helper for eating a burger. I'm going to make you watch me eat a ham.
Yeah.
How about you, Jordan? What are your final notes?
I got a couple of anal corners if you're interested.
Couple of anal corners.
Which mailman do you know comes to your window of your house to deliver you stuff?
Is that not all my mailman do?
Well, not mine because I'm 3 stories up, so not.
So if you're on the 3rd story, maybe that's where they should be consolidating the fire department with the post
Oh.
office.
Oh, good idea.
Playlist, unintentional playlist.
Yeah,
service,
Yeah,
public
government.
servants
To
coming
your
to your
window.
window.
But also, he's like, my wife says grow a mustache. No wife would say grow a Hitler mustache.
Yeah.
No one would do that.
But also,
That's-
he doesn't know that Santa's helper is attacking him because of the mustache.
no,
That's true.
Also, when Duffman is like drunk on the couch, they say like, you just can't even fit in your regulation unitard.
Yeah.
It's clearly 2 different pieces.
I was going to ask what a unitard is.
You're a disgrace to the unitard.
That's right. Yeah. But it's clearly he's got like his gut sticking out.
Yeah.
Unless it's torn, maybe I'll give them that. Beer would go everywhere in space. Just like liquid, it would just be like, as soon as it cracked, it would just be like spewing
true.
out everywhere.
Jordan, they didn't actually film in space.
You don't know. This is The
That's true.
Simpsons.
They did spend $50 million
Yeah, on promotion.
on an unfilmed promotion. Like
like
there are
this-
no cameras about.
The 2 guys eject out of the plane. Are people still flying those planes?
Yeah.
They're like $1 billion each,
They
those planes.
jumped out of the back.
Okay. And lastly, Duffman says, oh, soon I'll be filling your lungs with the cool taste of Duff or minty.
Oh,
I was like, filling your lungs? You're going to fucking kill him, Duffman. You mean your stomach?
yeah, when he was rattling off, Duff and Duff Light and
Duff Blue.
Ride the Glacier or something.
Something
The
like-
Peppermint Glacier.
Yeah. But it was like, don't fill the lungs.
No.
No, like, and last was just mentioned. Oh, that's another playlist mentions of Frank Lloyd Wright because I really love Frank Lloyd Wright. So,
He's a designer.
Architect.
Yeah.
yeah, you can go see his most famous piece of work, in my
Yeah.
opinion, is called Falling Water. It's in Pennsylvania. It's beautiful. You would if you saw a photo of it, you'd recognize it because it's like this house and it's kind of looks like all these different kind of shapes coming off at different angles, and it's built over a waterfall, and it's beautiful. Anyway,
Yeah. All right. It is time for speedy, rapid, fast notes that are quick and speedy, not slow, fast. Pew, 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 pew.
Speedy quick notes. Let's go, Elliot. Let's do it.
I like how Milhouse goes, oh boy, skinned elbows. I'm going to get some major sympathy points. Just messes his hair in class. Mom! Classic Milhouse. Didn't really like how Lisa goes, Dad, those are blueprints for a go-kart track.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of the roller coaster wackiness?
Oh,
Of
the
the train?
train.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing like flying across America in a train.
I really like it. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it because of the look on their faces, especially Bart's face when
Yeah.
it's going over, because it looks like it could go like
Awfully
awful.
badly, yeah.
Like, and they're like, I feel like the wackiness doesn't land as well as that train does when characters when they're not being more serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're like, ha, look at that.
Like when they recognize wackiness in the world, I think that's generally funnier.
Yeah.
When they pick it up and they're like,
I think as well the joke was better cutting off. So when they said this track hasn't been used since, if they'd said since 1918, I think that would have been way less funny than it's like this track hasn't been used, and then it's just like the train is already coming, and they're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
oh no, and it's a little bit of a joke when they go past the lumberyard and go into the forest,
yeah.
and you think they're just gonna, but then it's
We're going to nature's lumberyard.
nature's lumberyard, train tracks, like that's great.
Yeah. I think definitely the visual element of the joke helped sell it. It just looked really cool and looked like a bunch of fun. That would have been a fun train ride to take.
It was attention to detail, sorry, as well. At the end, when it lands and like the carriages in order as they land are all like kind of wobbling and like, whoa, like getting back on track, and then it just keeps on going. But yeah, no, I really like that bit.
And yeah, the passengers sounded like roller coaster passengers, not train ones. That was good. I thought this was going to be a cringy Luigi bit when he goes, I made you a lasagna, like the funny cat from the papers, who's not so funny.
Yeah.
I liked that.
take a look at yourself, guys.
Yeah.
Now that you're, 30 years old, maybe you should just take a leaf out of Garfield Jim Davis's book.
Definitely.
I personally love Mondays.
Although it did give us Garfield minus Garfield, so,
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we need now. Simpsons minus Simpsons.
Oh.
And look, he can stand on his hind legs, unlike you, Duff Man. That was good. We see another reoccurrence of an old character, Dave Shutton, the journalist as well, who takes Santa's Little Helper's photo.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah,
Once in a lifetime.
that was so good. Just, whoops, let's try to make magic happen twice. Lisa's just reading a book on law, like all the law.
Yes.
So I feel like that would be something that we would have brought up if she hadn't been. They're like, what do you mean it's legally binding? Where does that say?
Yeah.
Like, it's not. She's just like, yep. He's got you there. Like, that's solid law right there.
Yep.
It's Oxford concise law. It's all in just these few pages.
Oh, man. 700 of the most concise pages you'll ever read.
Of the most common problems, and one of them just happens to be dogs that are now owned as
ownership
beard.
laws in terms with corporations and royalties.
And Homer's line, and I'm going to continue thrashing around like an injured seal. That was just a bit of good fun. And yeah, I saw a cool thing recently where surfers are like putting LED lights on the underside of their surfboards, and apparently it's really effective in deterring sharks.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, amazing. Like,
yeah, but then how are you going to prove your manliness by punching one like Mick Fanning?
well, we can't be all be Mick Fannings, mate. And my final note is, what do you guys think of like the conversation that happened at the end? Dad, you ate the can of tuna and all that. Like, to me, it just sort of felt like it was limping towards the end.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like the gags of Homer, not his dumb moments of him saying a thing and then being corrected, and then again and again and again. It is a limp off.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, several too many bites of the cherry. I don't know. I think maybe again, because those jokes have kind of been spoiled by them being pretty prevalent in Simpsons episodes. So for me, it was kind of like, we get it. Like, you can see they're telegraphed from, miles off. So I think for me, I was kind of a bit, I know, do the thing.
Yeah.
Just,
Have your wrap-up scene.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it is time to rank this thing. Jordan, why don't you kick it off?
I would watch it again, but I don't think I can give it anything higher than a bronze.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fine. First act was pretty good, but it was kind of disjointed. And the second and third act, there wasn't really many laughs to be had, and it wasn't really as heartfelt as they probably wanted to try and evoke. Yeah, I mean, it's still fine. It's still good. But it's a bronze for me, but I'd be fine someone ranking it higher.
Well, that's a good thing, because I'm giving it a silver. I think its jokes really lifted it up in the face of a story that would have been a down point had the jokes not have been so good. Yeah, it's a fun ride, and yeah, it definitely works in the hangover test and playlist. And yeah, it's a good ride. So silver for me. What do you reckon, Oscar?
I'm really split. Because my initial leaning is bronze.
Yeah.
Despite my praise and despite my enjoyment of it,
yep.
I do think that overall as an episode, who complains about bronze? If you're at the Olympics, you get a bronze, that's a great thing.
Yeah. Bronze is still good.
But silver, it's because it's good. It's got some of my favorite images that I think of like a lot, like it's stuck in my head.
Yep.
But I don't think I can rank it as a silver.
Yeah,
I think
this is like choosing which parent you want to.
it's a real Sophie's choice. I'm gonna go bronze.
All right. Well, yeah, this will be a shiny bronze all around, and it'll be joining other such shiny bronzes as also from season 14. I'm spelling as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
A Star is Born again, which we also did with you, Jordan, didn't we? Ned's Hollywood Starlet Day.
Yeah.
Yep, it'll also be joining Alone Again, Natra Diddley, the one where Maud dies, Day of the Jackanapes, where Sideshow Bob hypnotizes Bart, Real Housewives of Fat Tony, which we also did recently, a really good HD Simpsons episode, The Book Job with Neil Gaiman in it, and Barthood, where they do the movie Boyhood, but with Bart.
Yeah, that's actually, you know what? Shiny bronze, it's pretty decent company.
Yeah, it's a good playlist of some episodes that do undoubtedly have some fundamental problems. All right, guys, now it's time to go all the way back to the classic era, and we're going to watch the one when Flanders failed. It's called When Flanders Failed.
What?
Fail!
I wonder if he succeeds. are back, and we just watched our classic and our final episode for the evening, which was Season 3, Episode 3, When Flanders Failed. This was first released in October of 1991. It was directed by Jim Reardon, written by John Vitti. In this episode, Flanders has a barbecue where he announces that he's getting out of the pharmaceutical business and he's getting into retail, and he's opening up his own store, which is all the left-handed stuff. Yeah, you guys have watched The Simpsons enough. You know what the leftorium is. This is the episode where that gets established. But on a wishbone wish, Homer wins, and he wishes for the leftorium to go out of business. And it does, until it doesn't. Guys, what did you think?
When we asked about heart in the last 2 episodes, we were really struggling to mention anything.
Yeah.
And this has real, proper heart and emotion in it. And that makes all the difference in early Simpsons, I think.
It's got season 2 heart.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's very specific Simpsons heart, because I feel like this is one of the last episodes where Flanders is like a real character. I mean, like, Christianity gets brought up once.
Yeah.
It's when he's like, I usually turn to the good book when I'm in trouble, but I sold it to you.
7 cents.
But yeah, the whole fact that he's like, he was working in pharmaceuticals, and
yeah, that's an interesting thing.
right, and he holds up his necktie, and it's like,
So he must have been in sales, I guess.
yeah.
Maybe he owned his own, or he was like franchised his own pharmacy, or potentially.
I feel like he was just a pharmacist.
Oh, actually, man, maybe he did work for a pharmaceutical company because he had to wear a tie. He didn't say anything about like a lab coat or anything, right? So
Yeah, that's what I think.
Even though I can imagine him as a pharmacist,
so
like,
easily.
oh,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
mustache.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas more days we think about like pharmaceutical reps, it's more the blonde bombshell. Like, back in the day it might have just been a sort of salesman job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's a little bit of interesting continuity that we established with Flanders. That pre-leftorium he was working at.
In some kind of pharmaceutical
The drug
business.
man.
Yeah.
Peddler.
Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, this is pretty joke light, but there is just so much nostalgia in this one for me. It was warm and comforting and like classic Simpsons, but at the same time I don't know how I'm going to go in the rankings because there are some issues in it. I'm going to start out by saying a moment from the story that sticks out to me for worse is Homer's a fucking jerk in this episode.
Yeah.
But whereas like later Simpsons jerk-ass Homer is pretty irredeemable, this one he does redeem himself at least, and he helps Flanders reestablish his business. But leading up to that, man, what a cunt.
Well, I think the thing is though, in his imagination, the thought of Flanders going out of business, it is funny and it's whatever, and it's not until he's confronted with the reality of it and how awful and gut-wrenching it is that he's like, oh my God, this is awful, I've got to fix it. Because it's, to him, it's just like a funny jape, and he'll be fine though, everything's fine. And it kind of gets peppered in throughout the episode when it's like, wait, Flanders hasn't paid his bills, and wait, hold on, I had to give you your stuff back, and you're not going back in the house, and it's kind of like this slow ticking realization of, oh no, this is really bad, and it's just because he doesn't grasp how terrible Ned's life is becoming because of, whether it's a real curse or whether it's just Ned didn't bother to advertise his store anywhere.
I mean, a good store needs no advertisement.
But I don't judge Homer as harshly as some other awful things that he's done, like switching Marge into the driver's seat when he was driving drunk or anything. This is just like, Flanders, I'm sick of him, I hope he fails. And then when he does fail, he's like, no, I'm actually a decent human being and I want to help fix it.
And the way they start off the episode, like, I'm not 100% sure if this was like a sitcom trope. All I know it from is from Fairly Odd Parents with the neighbor always being better off and like being that lower middle class family, like, because that's early Simpsons played into that so much. It was all about that. It wasn't, like later seasons where Bart says, I need $1,200 and Homer pulls it out of his wallet, which is hilarious. But it does take away from the reality, which these early seasons really play into, which is a real strength of that, and having it, Marge saying, just because they're a little better off than us. And, the way that Homer views Ned, and having that be pre him quitting. Yeah. Having him be like, they're well off.
Yeah. Like, they're not rich, but they can afford, a $300 gas barbecue and stuff, which back in the 90s would have been, pretty expensive.
And plenty of episodes where The Simpsons, like, we're buying, like, an air conditioner is a big thing, whereas that's not an issue for
paying for the dog
Flanders.
surgery and all that. Yeah, and Ned does mention, Homer, like, affordable housing scheme or whatever may have made us neighbors, and that sort of shows that Ned is actually probably only a little bit better off. It's just he probably worked hard at peddling them drugs.
Yeah, and probably doesn't make as bad financial choices.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, they have 2 kids as well instead of 3, but I reckon that if they were like, hey kids, we're having like lentils for dinner or something, like something cheap, Rod and Todd would be like, yeah, exactly.
Unflavored for me.
Oh, they would so eat plain lentils.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's important that Homer does have this arc and redemption, and like you were saying with the fantasy sequences, that's his crisis of conscience sort of growing and growing as the episode goes. So it's not totally a bad thing that Homer's a jerk in this episode. It's just there are certain moments, especially at the beginning, like where he's really indignant towards Marge, and then when he's actually at the barbecue and again being indignant to Ned. And I think like the only bit out of that whole thing that I liked was when he starts doing the slow laugh and just starts choking on the
With
burger.
a mouthful of food.
Yeah.
The follow-up on, wasn't it Flanders? Choking.
Such a shame.
I think that's my first laugh. That's my first laugh of the episode.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Homer getting all upset and indignant, like you said, is it shows you Homer's a little bit immature.
Oh, definitely.
He's very jealous.
Spiteful.
But also, he's probably a little self-conscious that he can't provide these nice things for Marge and stuff as well. So
Totally
it's
insecure about that.
Yeah, I can imagine even a little comment like that from Marge, you could kind of take it as sniping. Almost like in his mindset he's got, I could kind of see why he'd be really shitty about it, but he doesn't deal with it well.
Yeah, there's probably more of an implication to take there, but yeah, just me personally, I found it just unpleasant.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I think, he doesn't deal with it well at all, and it's like, it shows you, that he is petty, and that sets off the whole episode, essentially.
Definitely. So, Jordan, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
You know what? It's because it got me a little bit, like my throat started to get a little bit tight when Ned's coming up the elevator, and like, Neddy, come quick. And it's still like, I'm talking about it now, and I'm going to be like, oh, it's so nice that like, everything comes good for him, because look, Ned can be a little annoying. We all know that. But he's never malicious.
Yeah.
He is not an angry person. He tries to do his best, and he lends everything that he has to everybody. He's generous, he's lovely, he's kind.
Yeah, the whole parking validation thing is an excellent thing that this episode is doing to show that he's not doing business the right way. He's trying to do it the kind way.
Yeah, or when the lady breaks the mug, and she's willing to, she's got her wallet out, ready to pay, and he's like, no, that was an accident. Like, Homer, it's only right that he fixes the problem that he started, but the fact that Ned is able to make a living and it's okay at the end. I know it's very saccharine, but I just really liked that bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the shop's full, and you see all these people throughout the episode who has been established as left-handed and been struggling with their problems. And yeah, it's a nice moment of relief for everybody concerned.
Yeah.
That, now, what's his name? Chuck Ellis can get his left-handed ledgers, and Burnsy can get his left-handed cat food can openers.
Huzzah!
Huzzah for the shopkeep! Yeah, it's a surprising amount of people that are left-handed in this town. Mo, Ned, Mr. Burns, Akira, Chuck Ellis, this guy, and maybe Apu, Sideshow Mel, and Dr. Nick. They were all in the store. I know Bart is. They've established that before, and Barney might be, but I think he's just doing it to get the checks.
Yeah, no, he just thinks that shirt is hilarious. Kiss
what
me,
an
I'm
icebreaker.
left-handed.
So how about you, Oscar? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
My favorite moment in this episode, when Homer is going to return the barbecue and he finds Ned and his family sleeping out in the car. It's really sad, and it's poignant, and it's really touching. And
I noticed there was like a lot of emptiness in this scene. Like shots were far back, and there was a lot of background in it, and I think that was really important.
When Ned is struggling and you see him putting on a brave face for his family, and then those times where he sort of confides in Homer and reaches out as a friend to him, I always love those moments. I love watching them connect on
Yeah.
that level. It's always something that I love watching in the show, and it's probably my favorite thing from this episode.
The only thing I don't like about that scene, I think it's just really unfair of Homer, essentially because he thinks it's his fault, and he kind of tries to say, oh, it's my fault. And he goes, no, you were a good friend or whatever. And it's kind of unfair for Ned to kind of be like, no, you didn't do anything, when he kind of has. He just doesn't know that Homer's been working against him a little in the background.
Yeah, because it wasn't just the actual wish itself. Homer has been actively not directing people to the store.
Like, he's one man.
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
right.
Yeah.
Mr. Burns is great business, so really, that's like, obviously this is why Homer didn't work in pharmaceuticals and work in sales.
It does make me think, God, wow, this store would just tank these days. I mean, as if retail wasn't dead enough.
Yeah, we got rid of all of those left-handed people in the 90s.
I actually sort of, when we were starting this episode, I was like, oh, I should have probably gotten a left-handed person on the show just to, for diversity.
Totally.
So play count, how many times before tonight have you seen this episode?
5 or 6 times?
Yeah?
I'd say double digits for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I'd put this at about 20 to 30. It's not one that I've actually revisited that much over the years. Like, when I'm watching season 3, there are so many, like we were saying when we were looking at the disc that this one's on. It's like, But the Murderer, Homer Defined is on there, Stark Raving Dad, the Michael Jackson one. Like, unless I hit the play all button, I would have been watching so many other episodes before this one.
Over this one.
Is this is season 3?
Yeah.
Okay. I said it was season 2 earlier. How
Well, I
embarrassing.
thought-
And I gotta say, it looks more season 2 than season 3.
And that's like a strike that I have against it, is there's a lot of animation inconsistencies with the models, and
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, because I think this episode looks worse than Stark Raving Dad, the Michael Jackson one.
Yeah.
It is actually a holdover episode from season 2.
I was going to say, like, when you said season 2, I was thinking about, like, season 2 episodes. I'm like, yeah, this would fit in really well with,
like
like
the putt.
Yeah.
or like Brush with Greatness, that kind of thing. Is like, I can imagine them like side by side, essentially. There was an animation bit that I noticed at the start when he's like trimming. It's like some grass just like disappears. Like, one frame it's there, one frame it's just not. And I'm like, not really a big deal. But yeah, you can tell they're like, we can't go into super detail with this.
Yeah. So ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yeah, it does feel like a Simpsons episode. It definitely feels early Simpsons, because
Yes.
there's like zero wackiness in it.
Like, yeah, we're establishing the characters at this stage. Homer's a bit of a jerk, but he has a story of redemption. That's fine. Ned's overly nice and at the expense of his business. And, we didn't mention this as well in the B story. Bart is being his mischievous self, and
Yes.
he's like, gets a sudden interest in karate. Oh, you have to do like theory and reading.
You need to read Sun Tzu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually, in the controversial episode that just aired, the one where they address the problem with Apu, Bart is actually reading The Art of War by Song Tzu in that episode, and is plotting against Homer. Yeah.
Finally got around to it, huh?
That's really interesting, because it did cross my mind in terms of like in this period of like Akira as a character, because he works at the Japanese restaurant as well.
Yeah.
Akira is also occasionally voiced by George Takei. He wasn't in this one.
Okay.
And yeah, just quickly on that whole problem with Apu and that episode recently, without going too much into detail, yeah, it absolutely sucks what The Simpsons did. And we want to cover it on the Simpsons Index, but we're still trying to figure out what the right way to do it is. And especially when most of our panels are predominantly white, it's I think we need to, find some guests who can sort of speak a bit more about what it was like growing up with that representation. So yeah, we're going to do it, but we're going to give it a bit of time. And also we want to see the sort of cultural impact that this, especially that Simpsons episode in question had. Anyway, back to this one. So yeah, Bart as well being totally on point for his character. I just loved this, Akira, I already know how not to hit a guy. Come on, teach us some shit.
I've used that line. I was thinking about, can I go to the bathroom then? You can, if you believe you can.
Bust the board with his head, and
Yeah.
that only hurt a little. That didn't hurt very much.
Yeah. That whole ad, everyone does karate. Lawyers,
Doctors,
financial planners.
What was it? Landscape architects?
choreographers.
Yeah. That's the same one, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, he's from Lisa the Beauty Queen. Step, turn, pivot,
Yeah.
step, turn, pause, and all that.
Looks like Megamind. Well, Megamind looks like him. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, this was a very fine B story to have, and especially Bart using what he's learnt from video games to cover up for it. And yeah, the whole touch of death thing, that is an amazing thing to return to.
And the
sound and everything.
It's one of my other probably favorite moments is the final time where he's racing back through the mall, trying to beat Homer. That's another moment of this one that does elevate it up a level.
Yeah, doing classic Ferris Buellerian.
Although there was that bit that we all commented on in the episode, we're like, I wonder if that was in the syndication where he runs past the guy who's kind of in a little
It's one of the barflies.
Is it?
Is it the green hatted? But he's not wearing glasses.
I thought it looked
just
too
looked like a
young.
generic guy to me, but it might have been.
But on the phone, he's like, "Oh, baby."
Yeah, he's on one of these sex chats lines.
Yeah,
one of those ones that
it used to be like what they were like 1902 numbers or something.
Yeah, man, $5.95 a minute. Let's talk about the wackiness of this episode. Not a lot of wacky moments.
No.
Not totally. I was thinking there's a couple of little things like Homer choking where he goes kind of red and purple and everything. Not totally wacky because, I mean, you can go a little bit red, but it was so fluorescent purple that the color he went.
It's a fun bit, actually, to go on Frinkiac.com and look at a bunch of the stills from that scene, because Homer does some wicked fucked up contortions on his face there.
I bet. It's not really wacky, but I liked it a nod with... Burns is almost going full Blofeld, where he's got like the white cat, like just stroking it. And I can't think, has he got a white cat in other episodes?
I was trying to think. I don't think so. Hey,
he does when cat food and can openers are important to the story.
Yeah, it's like Homer's watch. He has a cat when the cat is required by the story.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it wasn't very wacky. It was just full of heart.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can say the itchy and scratchy bit, that's wacky, but that's itchy and scratchy. And, I got to say, I was actually really excited because we haven't covered an itchy and scratchy episode in a long time, and it was just a bit of a nothing itchy and scratchy bit.
Yeah, it was one of the few itchy and scratchies where it doesn't kind of tie into the episode, or it's not on the same theme, or it's not related in some way.
Yeah, it's just he's eating spaghetti and it has a bomb and he explodes and the waiter trips over.
First of all, his head comes off when he goes through the door. His head gets knocked off, then his body explodes outside, which is just brutal.
Yeah, they really weren't afraid to make these cartoons brutal back then.
No.
And, it's better than the pig exploding bit because it's contextualized by the fact that it's a fucking cartoon within the show.
And also it does that, there's like jagged red and white, like explosion animation.
And there's a great bit of animation there, the low angle on Bart of like where he's in the foreground, like slumped down watching the episode. There's some perspective shots that really don't work in this episode, like in the beginning with Homer and Ned when he initially invites him. It looks weird. There's something really weird with the perspective.
Yeah.
They start from down low and come up and sort of it gives them weird power angle. I don't know why.
Yeah, they turn into triangles.
Because he's showing with the progress he's made on the lawn, and it's this very high shot looking down on them, and it's very weird mix, and it kind of kept changing. And
it felt like a little bit of a callback to the Putt Putt episode, which also starts out with Homer mowing lawn. Yeah. But he is using that like red fucking terrible rusty old one that is, broken in the corner there, and he's, pinched Ned's weed whacker.
Conversely to that, I did like the shot of the wouldn't it Flanders, because it's like Homer like taking up half the screen.
That's another one. That's another of those great perspective shots, which is weird that there are some really great ones and then really, really awful ones where Ned becomes really thin and really large, and it's...
Oh, in that crowd shot at the end when they're, singing and everything, there are so many horrible off-character model moments.
Yeah. I know this seems like a stupid thing to say, but they look more 2D in that as well. It's almost like they kind of look like when you cut out people and you pull the paper apart and they're all like joined by the hands. They kind of look like that, and they were in layers. It looked a bit strange to me.
Yeah. And the last bit of wackiness I'll mention, again, I'm really scraping here, but when Lisa goes, do you know what Schadenfreude is? And explains it to Homer, and then Homer's like, oh, what's the opposite of that? Sour grapes? Wow, those Germans have a word for everything.
And I could totally picture sour grapes like SAUER grapes. Like
sour grapes.
Sour grapes, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize that, Simpsons explained Schadenfreude to me a lot earlier than I thought I'd heard it.
Yeah, before it really kind of popped back into the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah, because it is one of these things where that word is just everywhere now.
I remember seeing Avenue Q, and there's a song, a whole song called Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
It was around the time of when Paris Hilton was kind of famous, and her just like crying as she's getting carted off to jail and stuff, and like showing pictures of that up on the big screen while they're singing the song, and you're like, you kind of had it coming, Paris, but at least you're trying to get your life back on track now.
Yeah, I had a great Schadenfreude when there was footage of Justin Bieber and he just fucking hurls on stage.
Oh, really?
And it is a lot.
Oh, dear.
He shouldn't have eaten the whole lasagna. They warned him about this.
No, I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat it all.
Okay, Justin. Okay, you do whatever you want. He's going to be sick.
How about the heart on that note?
So much heart.
So much
So much heart.
The bit that broke me was when Ned broke. Well, I don't even want it now. Like, when he offers him $20, he goes, maybe you can throw in those lawn chair, and he goes, okay, Homer. And it's just, you can tell he's just defeated, and your heart breaks for Ned because he's trying to, and he's just like, I just need the money.
Yeah, that was another scene that I found actually really uncomfortable, and it is redeemed by Lisa going, I'm sure you did nothing to stop him, you scavenger of human misery.
Yeah, because he's got Ned's glasses.
Yeah.
He took his fucking glasses.
And
Jesus, how low do you have to go?
I assumed that they were a spare pair.
Yeah, possibly.
Which at that point in his life, he doesn't need two pairs. I mean, he does, because without your glasses, speaking as a glasses person myself,
I got contacts on, but I know.
Without glasses, you are really, really screwed.
Yeah.
You're just like Gil.
Yeah, Gil.
A little bit better. I can make out shapes, but I wouldn't want to try it without.
But yeah, he could have used a spare Bible in that moment as well.
Hey, that was going to be a Jordan's Anal Corner.
Jordan's Anal Corner.
Flanders has got to know the Bible back to front.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't really need to read the Bible.
Well, that's what I love about like this kind of early Flanders is that he isn't like an encyclopedia Christianico. It's like he reads it. It's not what defines him.
Yeah.
And I love that about this episode in particular. And the earlier ones where he is more of a rival for Homer than he is a Christian goody-goody.
Yeah.
Which, we all get lots of joy from his Christian moments in the later seasons than this. But it's really nice watching him as a human being.
Yeah. Well, I've said it a couple of times on the podcast now. It's like in the last episode we watched in Old Yellow Belly, they did another divert to Agnes and Skinner to do another undermining Skinner and calling him a coward moment. This sucks because that's all that Skinner's become, is this coward, whereas in the early days he was a principal and a Vietnam vet first, and it was funny when Chalmers or Agnes would be on the scene because those are the only two people that could break him.
Yeah.
It's the same with Ned. There were other things about his personality that weren't just about doing everything right by God. And
there's a reason why the trope is named for him.
Yeah.
There you go. Just a couple of other anal corners was that.
A couple of other anal corners.
So many corners.
How did they attach the underwear to the hoop? Because it's kind of like looped around.
Yeah.
Did they tie a knot in it somehow?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I've seen live action things of people hanging. I feel like it's usually flagpoles. Something with a point.
You can attach, you could dig a hole in it and then hoist them by that.
Well, basketball rings have those little
for the net.
Yeah, them little metal rings at the top. So
just the way it was drawn, it looked like it was wrapped around the top and then tucked in at the back. And I was like, oh, that's. Yeah, it doesn't work.
It's a good playlist. A good playlist is people hanging from their underwear.
Oh yeah.
The film festival.
Yeah. You badmouthed MacGyver, didn't you?
Bart getting the shit kicked out of him by the boys.
Just the big wedgie playlist.
Hoochie is not the first dog in Itchy and Scratchy.
Oh yeah, purple dog waiter.
Yeah,
there we go.
He was there.
He's my favorite dog waiter.
And
top 10 dog waiters.
Akira is left-hand nunchucks.
Yeah.
How does that work? What is a left-hand nunchuck? In fact, all of the left-hand stuff they talk about, corkscrews and...
Yep.
And Mo got through bartending school.
Yeah.
Without...
Yeah, it's just a corkscrew. You fucking shove it in and twist it and then pull the thing. There's no contour there.
Yeah.
They're all just suckers for the branding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And left-handed mugs as well. I mean...
Yeah. Well, the left-handed thing, it's hold on. So is the shift in the door? Because it's specially designed for left-handed people.
I guess it's just an Australian car.
Well, no, because the steering wheel was still on the left for them.
Oh,
but it was like for left-handed people. So I'm like, okay, so there's the gear knob like in the door. Then I don't understand because it was like specially designed for only 3 made.
yeah,
I don't know. That's fine, but
that is a bit weird. Yeah, I wouldn't have a clue. That is bizarre.
yeah.
Any manufacturers of left-handed vehicles, please send a message in.
And my last one was, they're saying Ned is the richest left-handed man in town, and if Burns is left-handed, he's still there. Yeah, there's no way
He
that's
is
true.
rich in spirits.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Oh, easily yes.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, look, I'm going to watch this again. I might watch it in a playlist. So, Flanders episodes, definitely the Leftorium.
Oh, mentions of China hutches.
Okay.
Because there was like, who did this? Who fell in the China hutch?
Right, yep.
Yep.
Hands off my China hutch, yep.
Yep.
I want to do a playlist of video games in The Simpsons. So we have,
Ooh.
Touch of Death, and then other episodes with like Larry the Looter and
Oh,
all that.
the
Dinner
legal,
with Andre.
Yeah, tell me
Tell me more.
the legal one with the plead insanity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Waterworld.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Game over. Please deposit 40 quarters.
Yeah. Barbecue episodes.
Yes.
A few of them.
Excellent. Flanders episodes, like Flander and Homer.
Yeah. Pair this up with the one we were talking about earlier where Homer's like really enamored with Flanders
And the Putt Putt episode.
definitely. Yeah, Wishbones. Pair this up with the No One Bought a Wishbone necklace.
Aw.
I seriously doubt my son or daughter is that stupid. Oh, That Guy episodes, because he's
Yep.
in this one. The
Yeah.
Just stamp the ticket.
All right, guys, getting into the final rounds. Oscar, is there anything you'd like to change about this episode?
Probably, because I feel like, though I enjoy watching this episode as a whole,
Yeah.
I'm not super stoked when I see that it's the one playing on TV.
Yep.
Maybe bring in a little bit more of the B story into that main one. Like, even
Sure.
just having like a little tie at the end. Just some little moment, because it does feel very separate.
Yeah, definitely.
Something about the bullies needing like a beating implement in the like one of them needing something left-handed too.
Oh, yeah, because it is interesting that they, at one point, shoplift from there.
Yeah.
And they could have, brought it back. But honestly, I really love the moment where Lisa's like, go on, Bart, do the touch of death on them. And then he goes, oh, yeah, the touch of death. And he does the hand symbol in such a sarcastic way.
Yeah.
Show us, Bart.
Yeah. And
No.
I actually think this was also a really good moment. Like, we never see Lisa get bullied. I'm not saying it's good to see Lisa get bullied, but
From other girls, we do.
yeah, that's true.
Like I need tooth.
Yeah.
Lisa wants to marry a carrot.
yeah, that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
And,
Oh, everyone loves roller skating. Am I in dark mode? Yeah.
and she gets pushed in the mud. Hey, Sarah.
Oh wow, she does get bullied a lot. Poor
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing, but yeah, girls usually.
Also in that moment as well, because as a musician and as a pedantic motherfucker as well, the fact that Dolph just picks up the saxophone and goes, look at me, I'm Elvis, is just such an idiot's understanding. Like,
Yep.
yeah, everyone knows Elvis never played a saxophone. He could barely play a guitar.
There's another bit of kind of poor animation is that saxophone keeps changing shape and size every time it passes.
And Dolph basically has Jimbo's voice as well.
Yeah.
And there's a really long, elongated shot of Jimbo straight on.
Yeah.
I know that's been
Yeah.
a pretty heavy meme of Simpsons are
Front on.
terrifying
Yeah.
front on.
But I did like that shot though, because they looked really menacing because they're really shadowy on the front because they're like blocking out the sun because they're looming up and they're filling the screen, and it's kind of from a bit lower down so you can see that they're kind of higher up than us, the viewer.
Yeah.
So it was effective in that point, but yeah, the front on face is they got to work on that.
Definitely. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really know specifically what I'd change about this episode either. I think you could have toned down Homer a little bit. He could have still been a bit, vindictive, spiteful, and immature, as we said. And I just sort of feel like they hit on it a little too hard. And especially that scene where he's bargaining at the garage. So, wait, bye-bye to the bill, Nettie, bye-bye. You're just like, oh, you fucker. Like,
Well, again, because he doesn't realize how dire straights are for Ned.
yeah.
And so he's just playing it for fun. But yeah, when you realize what's going on, it's like, oh shit, Homer, please.
Yeah, but also in terms of functioning for the story, it's completely in place. Like, it doesn't need to happen like that, but something like that needs to happen. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm not super pissed off about it. But yeah, like I said, I don't super find some of those scenes enjoyable. Oscar, do you have any final notes?
I love Homer going through the vending machine and saying, "Oh, I know you. You're that first apple." And him going in there to Burns' office and,
"Don't worry, there'll be plenty of apples for you.
You ask my secretary to give you a free apple, nice shiny apple." It's just like, it's a really nice way to bring in Burns' issue with a left-handed thing. It's like it was its own little thing. I enjoy that moment immensely.
Absolutely. It was a great way to get Burns in the episode too and give him a genuine reason to be involved.
When Homer's going through his wishes in his head, and he sees Ned sad and penniless, and then he's like,
store closing down.
He's store closing down, and the third one's Ned dead. He's like, too far. That's real good.
Yeah, at least he has his limits.
He recognizes,
Like, no, I won't wish that.
Jordan, what else have you got?
There's this bit, Marge is like, how long do you watch the TV for a day? He goes, 6 hours, 7 if there's something good on.
Implying that, 6 hours are spent watching crap.
Because it's bringing up, like, you're spending too much time in the TV and you need to go get fresh air, whatever. And I'm just thinking, like, substitute TV for phones or iPads today still makes perfect sense.
Yeah, they were saying that in ancient Greece about writing.
Oh, really?
About tablets.
Yeah, well, there's about literal tablets. That's right. Yeah, there's like basically a quote that you could transplant throughout the ages. They're like, with all of these books, no one's gonna have to remember anything.
Yeah,
it's the death of memory.
I liked the total parent line of, Bart, don't use the touch of death on your sister. Like, just
that they never question any of this along the way. Like when Bart's telling Homer what he learnt that day. We learnt how to pull a man's beating heart out of his chest and show it to him before he dies.
Oh, that'll learn him.
Yeah,
that'll
learn him.
It's like, don't question. It's called the touch of death, and they're like, but kids exaggerate. And
poor Lisa though as well, and on the couch, change the channel.
I grow tired of this channel. There's a sign.
I suppose two wrongs do make a right.
Yes, that was good
That's
too.
a great line.
Yeah.
Across from Ned's shop, I don't know what it sells, but there was a place called Perky Hut.
I tried to write down. I missed what those background signs were.
Burns, where he finally gets the left-handed thing, and he says, the worm has turned. And this is a personal triumph for me because there was a person I knew who vehemently denied that I said once, the worm has turned. Like, that's not a real expression. And we found it on The Simpsons, like, ha-ha, in your face.
Huzzah.
I knew it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And just lastly, I want to get invited to a beefathon.
You want to get a hot beef injection?
All right, Elliot, let's go there.
Hey, The Simpsons did it.
Yeah, I know.
All right, it's time for final notes that are quick and not slow. They are final and they're fast.
Zoom.
Flanders calls his grill propane Elaine.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta start doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Propane. I love when Bart's playing tag with all the kids and they're like arguing about the rules.
Yeah. Electricity is freeze tag.
Yeah. And what does she say to him? You lie like a fly with a booger in its eye.
Yeah.
The fly was great and the booger was the cherry on top.
Yeah, it's like Homer indexing the children's jokes. So, Jordan, as our foremost authority on all things Latin,
Okay, yep.
is Sinister Latin for left-handed?
Sinister and Dexter is left and right. Don't know if it's Latin. I mean, it would be in a different form. But yeah, Sinister and Dexter is left and right, essentially.
Oh, there we go. In Homer's fantasies as well, what else he could be wishing for is like, President claims world peace. Nah. President Simpson makes world peace. Nah. President Simpson wins Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Homer's line when he's like rounding up people. Hey, Jerry, you remember how I paid back that loan last month? Now I need you to do a favor for me.
Yeah, that was good too.
And finally, an anal corner from me.
Okay.
Jordan's anal
corner.
Jordan's anal corner, Elliot edition. So why were Maud and the kids there before Flanders at the Leftorium at the end?
Where was he coming from?
Yeah, because they all would have stayed in the car. So, like, I don't know, unless he went to go pinch a loaf and then he had to catch up with them, like...
I thought you meant, like, steal some bread at first, and then, nope, I understand now.
Poop. It's poop.
Yeah, Thank you. I did like that final shot, though, of like the two families kind of smiling at each other.
Yeah.
And
That was important, to show them bringing it all together at the end.
Unity.
All right, guys, it is time to rank this thing. Oscar, it is your turn to go first.
Okay, I'm really struggling with this one myself because it's not one of my favorites by a stretch of those early episodes.
Yeah.
And it has lots of issues. It does have some of those great moments like Homer, speaking through his food and choking, and Bart doing his Ferris Bueller and little bits and pieces. But I feel like overall, it just doesn't give me enough. I want more. I like my Simpsons dense. I like them super packed. And super. The heart's amazing. So because of the things that I like in this episode and because of the heart, I'm probably going to go silver, which is a low-end silver, but a silver nonetheless, because I think it is an important episode, especially being a human Ned Flanders episode.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Jordan?
It's difficult for me. Let's start ruling things out. It's not a cubic. I don't think it's a bronze for me either. So it's kind of on that gold-silver line because I think I really appreciate the emotion that they put in, and maybe again because comparing it to HD and Teens episode where there's none really, there's no heart, and this is kind of it evokes a lot more. You're right, it isn't super joke heavy, but there are some really good ones in there. Do you know?
Oh, where I'm going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to?
You go, and then that might help me.
All right, it's a silver. I actually feel like, I don't know, if I was in a worse mood or something, I would have given this a bronze because it isn't very joke heavy at all. And while we do complain a lot about The Simpsons newer episodes lacking heart and being too much of trying to be a joke machine, this one is the opposite end of that spectrum where it is too much about the story for my personal taste. But I'm not going as low as bronze because I do recognize there is greatness in this episode. And there are some moments that have stuck with me over the years. It's just as an entire package, it's not super enticing. It's not one that I really feel immediately drawn to go back to, like so many of these classic ones where can we watch this again right now? And I don't feel that way for this one, but I do recognize its greatness. Yeah, so silver for me. Did that help?
That has helped. Yeah, when you're saying talking about watching it again, it's because it is that awkward sequence with Homer kind of bumbling and really screwing up Ned's life.
Yeah.
And it is a bit difficult to watch at some point. And there are, like I said, there are jokes, but it is very story driven. And if I'm thinking about the things that I've rated gold in the past where it's this is really fun. And there may be some awkward bits, but it's still just like a ride. And this one, I think about Leftorium and I think about those shots of Ned being just absolutely crushed. And it isn't something to look forward to.
No.
I'm going to give it a silver too.
All right, well, cool. That'll make it a unanimous silver, and it'll be joining other such episodes as Blood Feud, which we reviewed last week with Sean Nolan, which actually got gold, silver, bronze.
Ooh.
I actually
spread.
I actually liken this episode a lot to that one.
Okay.
It'll also be joining other classic era episodes like The Call of the Simpsons, the RV one in season 1, Treehouse of Horror 7, which me and you, Jordan, we did that one, which was Citizen Kang and the Genesis Tub and Brother Hugo and all that. Pygmalion, which we mentioned earlier tonight. I'm Going to Praiseland, which is the sequel to Maud Dying. C.E. Dole, Diatribe of a Mad Housewife. Millhouse Doesn't Live Here Anymore. The Departed. Yeah, this is totally where this episode should be. All right, guys. Well, that about does it for episode 81 of The Simpsons Index. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Oscar.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you. I was thinking, what would Beej say? Probably be he would say, oh, well, I just live upstairs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ragging on Beej. Suck it, Beej.
Take that, you asshole. And we'll see you next week anyway.
Yes.
So, that's it for me. I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. Thank you again for tuning in, and that's all the mustard in the house!
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or @simpsonsindex on Twitter. And now, please stay tuned for the bonus scenes.
Had too much saliva in my mouth. I was like trying to talk around it.
When Flanders fails. Yeah, sorry. I realize I can't.
You're nodding. You need to. We need to have bells that ring at different
I
tunes.
just put a little
when you
like
nod.
cat color on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you need to put a bell on the one you're already wearing.
Yes, that's true. Actually, yeah. Good point.
You kill way too many birds
Yeah,
without
I
it.
know. It's just Rosellas are so fucking tasty.
I know. Don't think I don't know. I know.
Taste the rainbow.
Lorikeet.
There were things I liked about the Millhouse, the Bart and Millhouse story.
No, pristine doesn't mean clean, just so you know.
Oh,
doesn't it?
Pristine means preserved in its original state.
Oh,
So it could be filthy, but it's pristine.
right. So it hasn't been like modified,
Touched, cleaned up, changed in any way.
right.
Yeah.
or filthy. Oh, that's great. I'm
could be.
going to use that all
Yeah.
the time now when something's really dirty but just hasn't been touched.
So cheeseburger could be moldy and like have
Pristine
but it's a
condition.
it's a pristine
burger.
cheeseburger, yeah.
Elliot, you need to take a shower. No, I'm preserving my pristine condition.
Yeah, exactly.
This was just a sleepover because it was on the books. I'm still
Yeah,
mad
this
at
is an angry sleepover.
Yeah.
And then he goes and drinks
from
out
the
of the
toilet.
toilet.
you. Oh, like Santa's little helper did. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Didn't work for me.
Well, I don't know, it's Springfield. They may not spring for it. I didn't mean to do that, but I like it.
But you did it anyway.
So when they're praising Santa's little helper and they're giving it Kahlua and cream, don't do that. Apparently not even mean to give...
Snowball?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, so
Did I say Santa's
little helper?
Fuck.
Yeah.
So
That's
when they're lumping praise on Snowball 2 and he's in, whichever gender that cat is in Mo's bar. Fuck, and I'm just fucking
Mars
up all the names are gone
Mars
today.
Bow.
I was
going to say, sorry, the bit that stood out to me, and it was almost because I
Mind
was
if I
like...
set that up?
Yeah, no,
There
go
we
for
go. So, Jordan, what from the episode... Sorry. Deleted scenes.